Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio and a fine Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition of the program to you and yours. All right. Feeling good? Feel all right? Feeling happy? Feeling like a big win's forthcoming? I don't know about big in terms of the magnitude of the game, but in the flow of a season, it's a big game. When you haven't won one, they're all big. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. If you do, remember we got you covered. All 3 hours posted, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can always email the program if you like. It's jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at @JCameronShow, WTSM app for mobile devices, and ESPN Tallahassee on the YouTube. Florida State, Wake Forest. Dave Clawson's done a good job at Wake Forest. They're always competent. You know that? They're going to make you beat them. You ought to be able to with the athletes that Florida State has. John Walford is their guy. This really isn't this isn't really a big breakdown game, okay? They run a lot of that zone read. You already know that. They play good, sound defense. They'll give you weird looks defensively sometimes. They've gotten better each year on defense that Dave's been there. But they don't have elite athletes. There's a guy here or there. They got a nice player off the edge. He's a pretty good player. But this is about execution. This is about getting focused. This is about stepping up and doing what you should do as the vastly superior team. Getting a win, get that behind you and move forward. Auden Tate is back for this game. Obviously, that's real good news. Looks like Matthew Thomas is also back for this game. So Florida State gets some good news to get right, and they'll go up to Wake Forest. And if you're wondering, by the way, we always say it's Snuggy Hill. It's BB&T Field, all of 31,000 strong. So atmosphere really shouldn't be the issue, at least not in terms of intimidation. Sometimes I think the sleepy atmosphere at Wake does cause a problem because you don't feel inspired. I've seen that kind of where guys are going through the motions.
31,000 strong when it's at capacity, but let's not kid ourselves here, you know? I don't know. Unless a lot of Noles fans are making their way for this game, I don't know that they're going to be pushing capacity 4-0, 0-4, or anything in between.
Yeah, it's the Noles, look, you've got to find a way to get out to a good start here to avoid any kind of game pressure and worrisome weight that comes from being 0-2. You know, if you get in this game early and you go down and you score and you capitalize in the red zone, which is something Florida State's really struggled to do, then you're going to go on and win the game. I really believe that. But if you start slow and you allow Wake to hang in there, they already probably believe in themselves a little bit more than they should at 4-0. Then they'll start to believe they can win this game too. And that's how upsets happen, when you don't step on the neck, when you give life, when you breathe life into a lesser tier school, and I mean a lesser tier program. It's not a lesser tier school at all. It's a great school. Then they believe, then they begin to believe, and then they begin to play above their heads. Then they begin to tree, as I like to call it, and that's always very frustrating. John Walford, I mentioned him at the outset. He leads the team in rushing and passing. Again, that's the offense they run. Greg Dortch is the receiver that's 6'3", 6'4", so he has a big target to go to when he does throw to him. 20 receptions on the year. But again, Florida State, this is more about them, and this is less about Wake. Sometimes the opponent figures equally into the conversation. Alabama, for example. You had to look at their players at each position and decide whether or not that was a favorable matchup for Florida State or not. That, hey, listen, they got a better player here than we do. What are we going to do to disguise that weakness? What are we going to do to help that guy out? You're not going to do that in a game against Wake. You're just not. You're not going to go, well, that guy's a better player than we have at that position. That's just not true at Wake. Maybe every once in a while there is a guy. But this is about executing, getting focused, and going and taking care of business. It's always so cliche when coaches talk about a business trip while going on the road. But this is that. This is that.
Well, we've talked about it all week long, the criticisms coming out of game 2 of the season, I should say, and the similarities between what we're criticizing this past week and what we've seen in past years under this coaching staff and how frustrating that can be and all that stuff. And what it may mean for the direction of the program. Are we upwardly mobile? Are we, stagnant? Are we moving down?
Right.
Where are we? Well, Fridays are for let's go kick some ass tomorrow and let's settle everything, about the macro stuff later. Let's go win this game tomorrow.
Let's go have fun, man.
Unless they lose, and then you have big conversations right out the gate on Monday, but neither of us anticipate that happening in this situation. This is an outgunned Wake Forest team. If you thought we should have beaten NC State last week, well, Florida State should annihilate Wake Forest. Records be damned here.
Yeah, the coaching of Dave Clawson and the funkiness of what they do has made it difficult at times for Florida State. I also think, again, the name. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. You watch the film, you see you got better players, and you go, Then you get out there on that field, and there's not much of an atmosphere, and people are hanging out drinking wine on Snuggy Hill, and you're kind of going through the emotions there for a little while, and the next thing you know, it's 10-7 in the third quarter, and you're going, okay, right. Time to wake up.
But, you said it right earlier this week, especially so. You always say it right, sir.
Thank you.
That's as the producer of the show, I need to tell you, you always say it right.
No.
But here's where he said it right. There's no time for a look ahead to Miami. That doesn't exist this year.
You don't get that. You don't get the benefit of the doubt. No.
Often the storyline in the flow of a season is Wake is just it's something that you have to do to get to what you want to do.
Right.
You got to do what you have to do this weekend so that maybe you have an opportunity to do what you want to do. But this is a time. This should be a motivated bunch tomorrow. And if it isn't, okay, then even in victory, we can have some bigger discussions as well.
It's the first time this season that they're playing back-to-back games. And that's really the tragedy of kind of what's gone on here with the inability to kind of figure out what a squad is as far as, who are going to be the dependable aspects of your team. It's not really – I shouldn't say that's the tragedy because there was a tragedy for some people.
Come on, you're good.
You guys know what I mean. They haven't been able to – I've been preaching this week, and for those that are really, really angry – and they're they're rattling the gates. Listen, just give me this here. Let them play a couple games in a row, and then we'll kind of figure out what they are.
You continue down that path, and there won't be wins and losses. No, sir, this is not a loss. You know what a loss is? Loss is a loss of a loved one.
Loss is when somebody you love passes away.
You sick, insensitive son of a.
Right now.
Come on.
When the Barbarians are at the gate, there's a time where I recognize it and say they should be rattling that gate. They should be tearing that gate down, screaming at the top of their lungs. But my message this week has been it's not the time. They haven't played back-to-back games. They're like the only team in the country that hasn't been able to play games in back-to-back weeks. You got to let them play. Let's find out what they are. They'll have weaknesses that we can honestly talk about, and they'll have strengths, but we really haven't been able to see them because there hasn't been no consistency in schedule.
Well, the dependable thing, we had a dependable player last week. Looked like a really serious injury, and perhaps we get that dependable player back on offense tomorrow. If that's the case, I still don't expect it, but if he plays, big news, big-time news.
Real big news. If Auden Tate plays, that is. I'd be really happy with that. I think it's kind of important that he does because that seems to be the security blanket for young James Blackman.
Well, and also if Matthew Thomas does, and that's the other name that Jimbo said, we're going to list him as questionable day-to-day, but this should be good to go. And listen, I think I understand after watching last week why Jimbo
went to the mat for that kid.
Perhaps because if Adonis Thomas is the one that's coming off of the bench, it's not Dontavius Jackson. That tells me all I need to know about how they feel about linebacker depth. You need your top flight starter.
Good news, D-Jack was back in good graces this week. Jimbo mentioned yesterday to the press that he thought that he had a good week of practice and might be coming back. He also hinted at the fact that there may have been some disciplinary stuff there. So I think he's willing to kind of concede that it wasn't just that he had maybe not had some good practices, that he had been a little banged up and then some other guys played and perhaps he didn't do what he needed to do.
And that's not to besmirch Adonis Thomas, who may be a good player here.
It's just not ready to play.
Well, I mean, considering what the depth chart says and what it should read, when you come in as the first reserve, what are we doing here?
What's happened, right?
And that contributed to last week's loss, too, because if you're not filling the right gaps, you're not triggering downhill, and you're thinking. I can't understand why some of our defensive backs look like they're thinking, but I can certainly understand why Adonis Thomas might be a little overwhelmed in the moment if there's a lot of movement pre-snap. Hopefully he doesn't have to play at all this week, or unless it's in garbage time because of the good reasons.
I've been slightly frustrated with our defensive backs. We'll get to it momentarily. Let's do this, though. Let's come out the gate swinging. Let's do a little hell to the no. Let's get it started, baby. Hell to the no team of the week. Cute now.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no, no, to the no.
Good games tonight. Good games tonight. No hell to the nah games tonight, just games to watch. Rare on a Friday, but we got them. I'll give you the hell to the nah team of the week. It's the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. You are the hell to the nah team of the week. 1-3 on the season, finding themselves as 30-point underdogs to the Ohio State University. Woo! If you're hoping for it, if you're rooting for it, if you've been wishing to see it, this is probably not the time that it's going to happen, but at least they're hosting the game. That raucous crowd at Rutgers might turn the tide and get the momentum going in the second half, and perhaps we'll be on the cusp of calling the Rutgers bookstore and saying, please send me a Scarlet Knights t-shirt that I could adorn the studios of the Jeff Cameron Show with on Monday.
If Rutgers wins this game, the score is 12-9. You heard it here first.
If Rutgers wins this game, they win it 10-2. 10-2 in a crazy turn of events, and the Rutgers gear will be scattered throughout your side and my side of the studios forevermore.
I don't think we'll buy as much Rutgers stuff as we would have Boston College stuff.
No, we'd have bought a bunch of it. I would have called Adazio. Like, I would have said, somebody give me Adazio cell.
Can he make a personal appearance on the buy? Can he just come down here and just sit behind Jeff, not say a word?
Well, that would be
just
awkward.
sit there?
He can sit next to me.
Oh, he's sitting behind you in the corner over there.
In the corner, yeah.
You set him
Instead
up
of the
with,
giant head that's back there.
With the pizza
mug.
and a pastry, and he's got beer, and he's just drinking beer, eating pizza.
Oh, I would love it. And he should do that on a daily basis.
And he's just watching a funny movie. Like, his favorite funny movie, so
attention.
he's laughing in the background as he's talking.
Eating his pizza, drinking a cold one. What do you think Adazio drinks?
Beer-wise?
He's a very straightforward guy. It's not going to get complicated.
See, but I feel like he'd break out with something you didn't expect. I don't know why. I really like that Shock Top. That stuff's pretty good.
I don't think he would like Shock Top. No, I'm going to go. I think he likes Heineken. Why don't you give me a Heineken?
That's as far as I go.
I think a Heineken sounds pretty good.
I don't know what this craft stuff.
That's kids
they got
today.
the Sam Adams
I'm
up here.
Yeah. No, give me a Heineken. I like a good Heineken.
I think he drinks Coronas. Can't you see him
in the summertime?
Can't you see him in the button-down Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah. I could picture that.
And it's a party guy. When his friend walks in, now it's a party. I got pastries on the table. I got a Margaritaville on the counter. Help yourself, buddy.
Help yourself, buddy, is a familiar phrase, an utterance from Adazio. That's him. Like in the off season, at the cabin or on the beach. Help yourself, buddy. And there's a Heineken in the fridge if you need it.
He tells every one of his friends the same thing. I get 3 weeks to myself a year. I'm not messing around.
He wears the what are they? Cuba Vera shirts. That's what they are.
Sure.
Yeah. The Cuba Vera.
I figure him for that, or a Guy Harvey shirt or something like that.
Yeah. By the way, Cigar City makes a beer called the Cuba Vera. It's really good. Really tasty.
Good people at Cigar City.
Oh, they do great work. They ought to sponsor the Jeff Cameron Show. Hey, you, let's go to break. Let's get back to it. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Come on.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra E-Max 22 as low as $99 a month, or up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Only from Mahindra.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples, the row of houses out of bounds on the right, the angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball, even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Super Center in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford. You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Can I play with?
ESPN Radio, Libations Friday, Loosey Goosey edition of the program. That's a weird thing to say. College football player for Miami, noting that their goal is to knock Duke's quarterback out of the game. Very Miamian. Yeah, that sounds like something somebody at Miami would say.
Maybe they're trying to get back to their old ways and old days because it was dirty, but it was successful.
Sure. Yeah. It's just not something. If your plan is to do that, you probably don't make the announcement. But that is on the ledger, so let's cue this up. We normally do this segment much later, but there's a reason we're doing it today. I'll explain in a second.
Ready for a cold one?
Oh, yeah.
Proof Brewing Company and Railroad Square Art Park presents What's on Tap. So, Jeff, what'll it be?
Well, in fact, Miami-Duke tonight at 7 o'clock is what's on tap. It's a good Friday night slate. That is very rare. Southern Cal, Washington State. The late game should be fun tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think that's a great game. I kind of think Washington State's going to win that game.
Really?
I kind of do. I'm not a big believer in Southern Cal right now. I think Southern Cal's got a real good quarterback, and that's what they got.
Well, the number is curiously close.
3.5.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Washington State's not terrible, and this will be the kind of game where in Pullman, they'll go nuts tonight, and if they can keep this thing interesting into the second half, then you got a chance at the upset. Yeah, at least with the number, I kind of leaned towards Washington State.
As for the Miami-Duke game, I wouldn't touch that thing with a 10-foot pole. Who knows what the hell's going to happen at Wallace Wade?
Well, it's electric.
Yes.
Friday night, Wallace Wade. Miami cornerback Malik Young said that his team's goal for tonight's game, that is to say, this, by the way, written from our friend David Hale, is to knock Blue Devils quarterback Daniel Jones out of the end of the game. Met Daniel Jones at the ACC kickoff this year. Nice kid. Young told reporters after Thursday's practice that Jones' propensity to take hits means it's incumbent upon the Hurricanes to knock the sophomore quarterback out of commission. He loves to throw the football. He takes hits. He doesn't like to slide. And what we're going to do is, the goal is, anyhow, to get him out of the game. Get him out of the game, and it's going to be a good game. All right, well, here's the thing. Defenders think this way. I get it. If a guy is a tough guy, doesn't like to slide, will hang into the last second like the way DeAndre Francois does to throw a football, your thought process is you got to make him pay for that. You got to make him stop doing that, because those are the kinds of things that can hurt you as a defense. A guy that waits to the last second and is willing to take punishment for a guy to break open, they can hurt you. Those are guys you greatly admire in a way. At the same time, you got to make them pay for that.
Can I say, independent, this isn't carrying criticism of the coaching staff or the players with it, and I know we've done a lot of that this week, but I can't stand how we've turned into a university where our quarterback just gets killed every week, and it seems like for whatever reason, it's just going to be in our DNA now, no matter who the quarterback is, that they're going to stand in there and take a free rusher shot to the ribs. I mean, what is that? I thought it was just a DeAndre Francois thing, but through week one of James Blackman, it looks like there's going to be some more of it coming on.
Second half especially. I thought the first half he played well. The offensive line played well. There are a couple things there that we could do better, I do believe. Some of that is, I don't think, and this is the part that's frustrating, one of the reasons DeAndre Francois stood in there and took so many hits is he's tough. The other reason is I don't think he reads defenses particularly well. So the pre-snap stuff was a problem. I have a suspicion the pre-snap stuff for a true freshman is a problem. So to me, what you have here is a set of circumstances that are going to see your quarterback get hit hard.
And it's not a criticism of the offensive line. I know what it sounds like, initially, but again,
there have been times where the line should be criticized, but I don't think now is one of them really.
No, but I mean, there are times where it's a free rusher that the quarterback has to account for.
Has to account for, and doesn't.
But do we have to have our quarterback taking 5-star, any given Sunday movie shots every weekend?
No. I'm with you. It's frustrating to watch because you cringe thinking that a kid's not going to get back up, and we're this close from J.J. Cosentino being in the game. I'm with you. And
they're
by
going
the way,
to Bailey Hockman. That's where they're going.
By the way, I will tell you something about J.J. If he has to go in there and take hits, he's at least equipped to do so. That's a mountain of a man. He's a big dude. I mean, a real big dude.
Yeah, well, if JJ has to come in, they're going to run the option, and they're going to win 6 games this year, 7 games. That's what's going to happen.
Run the option. That's a big bitch. He'll run over some
That's
people.
right.
He'll suddenly change his reputation for life. We'll
Pitch
love
it to
him.
Cam.
They'll be like, get you some. Get you some. I'm 258 pounds. I'll run your little ass over. He would. He's big. And he's kind of let himself go now that he knows he's not playing ever again. He's
Trey McKitty leading the way.
Go all in. Go all in.
There it is.
Anyhow, the comment, I don't know. When you say your goal is to get him out of the game, out of context, that looks bad. I think if you read all of what he had to say there, which is what I just did, it's a little less alarming.
Sure.
You get that he's saying, look, the guy takes hits. You got make him pay.
Another example of headlines versus context. Come on
true.
now.
Absolutely.
Let's be better, people.
Absolutely. Our thanks to Proof Brewing Company for coming on board. Now, here's a good reason that I'm going to celebrate this moment, this particular What's on Tap. Proof Brewing Company, as I've told you for weeks now, and For the Table Hospitality are presenting this weekend the 5th annual Florida Tap Invitational. That's today and tomorrow. One of North Florida's largest 2-day beer festivals. And you can get VIP and general admission tickets online, FloridaTapInvitational.com, or you can get them right now. We have a pair of tickets to give you right the hell now. How about them apples? 523-3776. This is $55 tickets. That's what you get here a piece. This is $110 value, my friends. I'm selling the value.
These are GA tickets, but if you look at the laundry list of things you'll end up getting, which is
12 complimentary pairing activity tickets, unlimited beer samples. Tom, I could just stop right there.
There it is.
Unlimited beer samples.
There it is.
Saturday's Florida Tap Invitational. So it's for tomorrow. Entrance begins at 1 o'clock. And there you go. We're going to give those away right now. And you don't even have to come here to get them. We'll let you go get them there.
Yeah, you get them at the door. And again, as you're calling right now, you get tonight access to the first event. That's where the pairing tickets are for. But then tomorrow is the unlimited beer sample.
All right, so 523-3776. That's why we're doing it in the first hour today. Caller 3, you win. Caller 3, win your tickets now. Go get you some beer. Tasty.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Get the lowest prices of the season on girls' graphic tees, just $9.99. Flannels for him, only $12.99. Denim for her, just $24.99. Get Nikes for $39.99. Kitchen electrics, only $4.99 after mail-in rebate. Plus, the Big One bath towel is just $2.99. Stock up, save big, and get Kohl's Cash. It's the lowest prices of the season, Wednesday through Sunday, only at Kohl's. Select styles, see store or Kohl's.com for details.
At Lowe's, we're building our team to help rebuild our neighborhoods devastated by Hurricane Irma. Because it's going to take a lot of time, and we're going to need a lot of help. So if you know anyone looking for work, have them join Lowe's. We're hiring neighbors for full and part-time positions with great benefits. Sound good? Then let's get to work. Apply today in-store or online at lowes.com/Irma. Select stores only. See store for details and restrictions.
We alarm our houses, and we alarm our cars. But when it comes to your personal information, it can be tough to know when something isn't right. That's where Discover Card can help. Now, we'll send you an alert if we find your Social Security number on any one of thousands of risky websites. And this service is free for card members. Just sign up online. It's our way of looking out for you, not just your account. Learn more at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations apply.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. It's game day eve for the Garnet and Gold as Florida State packs the bags and heads on the plane up to Wake Forest with visions of Dalvin Cook in the past dancing in their head. Florida State looking for that elusive first win of the season. They'll try to do it tomorrow afternoon at Wake Forest. What is the next shoe to drop in the NCAA recruiting violation scandal? Rick Pitino is already gone. Which coach could be next? Urban Meyer saying on a Columbus radio station on Thursday that if he finds that any of his coaches had lied about violations or recruiting, he'd fire them immediately. Thursday night football, Aaron Rodgers throws for 4 touchdowns in a big win over the Chicago Bears. They may have lost Devontae Adams for some time. The Bears may be going to former Carolina quarterback Mitchell Trubisky next weekend. And some Friday night football in the ACC, one that many Seminole fans will be watching closely as the Miami Hurricanes take on Duke.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
UCF's coach, Scott Frost. I do this all the time with guys that are now coaching or guys that are announcers or guys that are assistants somewhere that I remember their entire career. It gives me pause to stop and go, I remember that guy's career at Nebraska very well. I think it was his girlfriend that was the situation with Lawrence Phillips. A little throwing down the steps type thing. Ugly times. Well, Lawrence Phillips was not a nice guy.
No.
Anyhow, that's neither here nor there. This is what's important. He's doing a good job at UCF. They play well. They play hard, and they play smart, and I think he's going to elevate his status. A lot of people are looking at Nebraska currently going, why not bring home one of ours?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he could be a candidate. But the point would be this. He said – I got to give credit where credit's due. He said this on Bianchi's show. It's called Open Mic in Orlando. I've not heard it, but it's on in the mornings apparently. And he said to Scott Frost when he was asked about the Rick Pitino situation at Louisville and the FBI investigation that has obviously rocked college basketball, is there something similar going on in football? And his quote is interesting. It's hard to watch. I'm disappointed college sports has to go through something like this. The NCAA does try to monitor and stop these things, but they don't have the power to get the information or the same power to get the information that the FBI does. It might take something like this where there is a threat of jail time to get some of these people to stop trying to take advantage of the student athlete. When asked if similar shenanigans goes on in college football, again, he didn't hesitate. I don't think it's as transparent in football as it is in basketball, but it certainly happens. And it's been happening as long as college football has existed. It's going to keep happening as long as college football is the pressure cooker and the money generator that it is. When you have those kinds of things that are on the line, people are going to do whatever they can to take advantage and to get an advantage to win and keep their job. There's just so much money. And then, of course, there was follow-up questions, but I thought that was the most interesting of the answers. Sure, we're not naive. We figured there was wrongdoing. We just saw it at Ole Miss and other places throughout college football. It's been going on for years. But I do think what is transpiring with the basketball investigation and the committing of federal crimes and real prison time being in play, and cash payments of $100,000+ in the history of football, has it happened? Yes. Have people been busted for it happening? Yes. What ends up happening is the thought becomes, well, what can the NCAA do? Well, you can give them the death penalty. Well, nobody's getting the death penalty ever again. That happened to SMU. They've never recovered. It will never happen again, I don't believe. If Baylor's not going to get the death penalty, then nobody's going to get the death penalty. But I wonder, and it gets me thinking, I think I disagree with him here in the sense that one player in basketball means all the world. You get one superstar, you can go from being a sub-500 team that has no chance to make the postseason to winning the whole thing. Literally. That's how much one player makes a difference. Does a defensive back, does a linebacker, a running back change the fortune of an entire season? No. Quarterback's the obvious answer. And even then, it's hard to know coming out of high school that a kid's going to be a Jameis Winston. Or at the college ranks, a Michael Vick or something like that, right? You can't. I just don't think guys would take those kinds of chances. I think it would be different in the way that they cheat. I think the way that it goes on in college football is that frequently grades and things like that are either ignored or changed, and guys get into school that might not have an opportunity otherwise, certainly.
I think there's compensation to players or players' families. I think that's routine in college for football. I don't know that it's that much. I can't imagine it's $100,000 or more.
Right.
Maybe for a quarterback, maybe for a game-changing defensive tackle. You know, that somebody who fundamentally alters the way your football team operates. But even at the same time, you know, that would only, to me, probably happen at those mid-tier schools that are looking to climb.
Yeah.
I mean, if FSU and Alabama and Ohio State are battling for the services of a 5-star quarterback, and it's going down to the wire, and the kid's giving mixed messages.
And so Josh Fields is up for 3 different places he could go to,
Right.
for Georgia and Ohio State and Florida State and whatever.
I doubt that there's a $50,000 or $100,000 check being cut to a family.
I do too. I doubt it entirely.
However, I can say, you know, there are whispers of any number of programs doing stuff like that to you know, there's the Cam Newton obvious example of money moving
With
from
the church
Auburn
and
to
his dad and all that.
I mean, even jobs, it's an open secret. You know, like, for example.
Oh, getting jobs within the staff or on the staff or within the university scope, sure.
I mean, it's amazing how somebody who gets recruited and then their parent ends up being a quality control coach or, you know what I mean, a compliance coach or whatever it is.
I agree. Those things happen. What we're reading about in college basketball right now, I don't think happens, not on the regular, in college football. Again, because one player doesn't make the difference in football the way that it does in basketball.
I would hesitate to say that an apparel company is involved because, you know, Nike or whoever has the NFL contract in a given era of time, they don't make all that much money off of, you know, a quarterback, you know, being the front man for their operation. It's shoes, man, basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball makes the world go around.
Yes.
Air freaking Jordans, you know, LeBron shoes,
Right.
Curry shoes. You don't care about wearing
Big
sneakers.
ballers.
Right, exactly. You don't care about wearing Cam Newton sneakers. You know what I mean? So
of course not.
I don't think the apparel companies are involved.
Well, their brand, all they do is brand. Just it's a lifestyle. It's an association. Yes.
I think if college football is dirty, and well, which it is, but I mean, if it's that level of dirty, the only way that's possible is if it's agencies that are involved because they're the ones that make money. But I'm talking about, you know, in large sums of money, like akin to what we're learning about through this FBI probe. I think if college football is operating on that level, it's largely because of agents. And I think it happens more likely than when a kid gets to school than it is in the recruiting process.
Right. That's why I wouldn't say these two things, that the corruption in college football as opposed to the corruption in college basketball are similar. I don't think they're akin. I think that, yes, I agree with Scott Frost when he says that it's a pressure cooker and there's a lot of money on the line, and when that kind of money is on the line, people will bend the rules, break the rules in order to keep their jobs. Oh, sure, I think that's true. I think it's, you know, a systemic thing where you let guys into school, you ignore certain grades or results in school. You find ways for kids to take online courses so that you can keep them eligible. And I think that kind of stuff goes on knowingly within football programs where they say, well, listen, I mean, what can we do to help Johnny be eligible this year? And I'm not saying every kid that comes to play college football doesn't deserve to be in college, but there are plenty of kids that are in school who wouldn't have otherwise been at that university, and because they were shortchanged before they ever got here, they have no chance, and so you end up having to try to help those kids out, especially if they're vital to your football success. That happens. The doling out of checks, funneling of $100,000, $200,000 from assistant coaches to players' families, no, I don't think that's a common occurrence. I think it rarely, if ever, happens.
The only times, again, it would happen is if you have a program that's in transition trying to ascend quickly.
Ole Miss is a perfect example.
But I think anytime you look at a major rebuild of any program, that's the period of time where you're most vulnerable to something like this happening, because you have to find that player in a recruiting class to change everybody else's minds, to have others come aboard. It's like the first domino needs to fall.
Yes, but it's more likely at those schools that have never had that before, because you can quickly utilize the cachet of yesteryear to transform your program if you've had success and you're on the minds of the parents and others that have watched the game over the years. If you've never had it, if you've never been a player, I think you're more apt to try to change the view of who and what you are through illegal means.
Bottom line, though, and maybe it just won't ever happen, but people said the college football playoff wasn't going to happen, and here we are. So hopefully it does at some point. I just hope out of all of this, once the news cycle gets tired of reporting what coaches, what players, what, representatives from Adidas
that it elicits change,
that we go back to the fundamental point. You compensate the players from the big-time sports, you're reducing at least these initial payments, this impropriety from the get-go. If you can classify...
I think there are a lot of people who agree that there are ways to pay players that don't involve it becoming professional sports.
Sure. Well, and you can make the penalties harsher if a player is compensated above a living wage, or you know what I mean?
Whatever it might be, right?
Yeah, like the note from a couple of years ago before Saban got his latest raise. But if he paid every player on his roster $50,000, he'd still have $2.5-3 million left in the bank.
Right.
I mean, what's wrong with that picture? Honestly, what's wrong with that picture there? And that's more than a living wage. That's a nice middle income salary. So to me, if somehow you can reclassify that individual from a student athlete to something else, like a trade school member that allows them freedom from Title IX regulations to devote dollar for dollar across sports, and give the money back, proportionally to the sports that bring you the most money, then you're able to reduce these occurrences, because the only reason this happens is the players aren't being paid money, and many of them are coming from backgrounds where they have no chance. Their families have no chance to survive.
Which creates the black market that we're reading about currently,
right,
which we've talked about for a long time. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra E-Max 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 850-702-0894. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 850-702-0894.
Football is here, Tallahassee, and if you're not watching the games at Tallahassee's favorite hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill on North Monroe Street, you're missing out. With over 28 TVs, you'll never miss a second of the action. Kick your week off with Monday Night Football, where you'll get 2-for-1 wells, calls, and drafts all night long. Then there's Tuesday Night Trivia with Professor Jimmy. Go win yourself some money. What about lunch? Weekdays, pick from over 20 menu items for just $7.50, including a drink. What you doing for Thursday Night Football? How about the Fourth Quarter, where you'll get Get 225 domestic drafts, 275 domestic bottles, and $4 Jaeger bombs. No weekend would be complete without Bubbles and Brunch. From 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., get all the mimosas and Bloody Marys you can drink and a breakfast for $18.99. Can you say Uber? Knowles, Bucks, Jags, or Finns, no matter who your favorite team is, take it to 2033 North Monroe Street and watch them at Tallahassee's favorite football hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill.
At the Home Depot, we know communities are more than bricks and mortar. They're people. And we're part of your community too. So in the wake of Hurricane Irma, we're here to help. We have essential items in the front of the store, making it easy for you to get what you need, quickly. We're doing our best to keep those supplies in stock. And of course, we're maintaining the same everyday low prices. Because when our community needs us, the Home Depot is here to help.
We alarm our houses, and we alarm our cars. But when it comes to your personal information, it can be tough to know when something isn't right. That's where Discover Card can help. Now, we'll send you an alert if we find your Social Security number on any one of thousands of risky websites. And this service is free for card members. Just sign up online. It's our way of looking out for you, not just your account. Learn more at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations apply.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Good feeling about recruiting this weekend, or Jimbo's riding up, shades on, stogie?
Well, we do well in recruiting, so I just focus in on the positives.
That's something I haven't mentioned. I'd like Jimbo to start smoking a cigar. I think it will enhance his image. Jimbo, if you're listening, and I know you're not, maybe I'll suggest it to you on Sunday when we're talking about the big win over Wake. I want you to take on smoking a cigar. Have that sucker, even when it's not lit, in your mouth at all times.
It would slow down the rate of talking.
It would. Man, Coach, I think we're on to something here. And I like the occasional cigar. So, we could talk about this while we watch film together. So, yeah, think about how tough that would look. He's got the hat, the shades on with the stogie as he rolls up to recruit.
Oh, cigar. Nope, not going to work.
All right, so here you go. I don't do this all the time, but here's my hot take. I do it every year at this time. The Willie Mays catch in the Polo Grounds is not that great a catch. We go on and on and on about this damn catch all the time, every year at this time, and I go, there's a better catch nightly in Major League Baseball. The athletes in the outfield today are ungodly. I mean, you can watch any – it's ridiculous how many catches I see a year that are better than the Willie Mays catch in 1954 in the Polo Grounds in Game 1 of the World Series. As another aside – it's reasonable to be playing a World Series game on the 29th of September. Good job. That's the way it used to be. Carried on into October a little bit, and that's the end of it. We're not playing in the snow. We're not worried about it being 25 degrees at first pitch for a World Series game because the season ended, in September or early October.
You're taking on the Willie Mays catch?
I do it every year.
Next thing you're going to tell me, the world's not as safe as it was back in 1950.
Safer. Now, here's
not as safe.
It is safer. It's safer now. Safer now than it used to be for violent crime. But now that's
not true.
It is true. Now here's what I'm going to tell you.
That can't be true.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. On this day in 1954, Willie Mays made his iconic over-the-shoulder catch at the Polo Grounds, Game 1 of the World Series. There's a cool picture out there you can find on the interwebs today of a reverse angle. A guy took it from the scoreboard. What's cool about this, there's a lot of things cool about this, is A, I've never seen that picture before, and now I have. You see from in front of Willie Mays, because he's turned around, you see him making the catch. It's a good catch. It's a very good catch. Might even classify it as a great catch. The way they talk about that catch is insane. It's not It's not nearly as good as many other catches.
Yeah, but I think part of it is they don't have many highlights back in those days. So the ones they had, and if they were anything good, they say, whoa, look at this.
It's a great catch, and if you're going to make the argument for it being better than I'm currently giving it credit for, you're going to talk about distance traveled, because the old Polo Grounds to straightaway center to hit a home run was 483, which is dumb. What were we doing back in the day? Why the hell does some dude has to hit a ball to straightaway center 483 to get it out of the park? You have to hit a historic home run just to get it out of the park. 483.
It's pretty much a home run if it gets back there, though.
Yeah. So to dead center, it's 4. I looked it up because I've seen this before. The guy who hit that ball that Willie Mays caught, if he's still alive, Vic Wirtz was his name for the Indians. Vic Wirtz had to be eternally pissed off. Look how far he hit that ball, and Willie Mays catches it. That ball is caught before you get to the warning track. He had to hit that 460, 470 to dead center, and this dude's going to go and track your ball down and catch that? That hurts. And that's the argument for it being a better catch than I'm giving it credit for, is how far Willie Mays had to go to make the catch. The catch itself is an over-the-shoulder number. Lots of people make that catch. My buddy Kobe in City League Softball made a catch over his shoulder. I swear to God, it looks just as good. It was actually better. He had to jump to do it. But moreover, in the major leagues, Dave Edmonds made catch. Not Dave Edmonds. Jim Edmonds. Yeah. Dave Edmonds was a guitarist. My music and my sports. Jim Edmonds made a better catch like once a week. Once a week, you'd see a Jim Edmonds catch where you go, well, that's incredible. That's insane. Who makes that catch? Jim Edmonds. That all the time. But, again, first of all, World Series game on the 29th. Secondly, poor Vic Wirtz hit a ball 470 only to have it be caught. He must have thought, man, I nutted that. How does that ball getting caught? It's ridiculous. And then, again, I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me. Did anybody hit a home run to straightaway center at the Polo Grounds ever?
Well, what I want to know is if it went...
Seriously, that's a serious question.
If it went far enough, did people, not even run it down? Because it would take 3 cutoff men to get it back to the plate.
Yeah, what's the point, right?
Where they just stand there and say, oh, you're good? I mean, because at some point, that's a reasonable response. A side note, I can't wait to watch my favorite NFL quarterback this weekend, Washington's Kurt Cobain.
I think that was well played. And in real time, you got that quickly. That was done. Well, I want to know, some baseball historian, I could look this up, but I'm being lazy. On the fly, we were just talking about this. I do want to know, did somebody ever hit the ball out of the Polo Grounds straightaway center? I'm off the top of my head, I'm going to tell you that, or just a random guess here, I'm going to say no.
Probably not, unless they exaggerated the tail. Like the Ted Williams home run is just something to behold at Fenway
But you
Park.
would know whether somebody hit, I mean, they would have records as to whether somebody hit the ball out of it was the 50s. But it's not like, it's, prehistoric days. We have video. 4 times? Who? I don't know. I'm not buying that, Matthew. 4 times? Who? What do we got?
Okay, so Luke Easter in a Negro Leagues game.
Okay.
Hank Aaron, Lou Brock on consecutive days, no less. And a guy named Joe Adcock. How about that?
Okay, so here's the thing about the Lou Brock stuff. As that came up, there's a rumor Lou Brock did it, but they can't confirm. Out of the stadium, out of the over the
Everybody said in those days.
No. What I'm saying,
like
saying,
Babe Ruth hit one 600 feet one time.
I don't know if we're getting a good answer here. I'm talking about over the 483 sign. Not right center, not left center. I'm talking about did somebody hit the ball to straightaway center at the Polo Grounds out of the park?
They didn't have pro tracers back in those days. I don't know if I can
but
promise
if the ball
it's got to be over the 8 in the 480 sign.
No. That's not what I'm saying. Go look at the damn stadium. Go look if anybody where you would have to hit it out of. Like you can hit it. Okay, so the 483-foot mark, it's underneath a sign of a Chesterfield sign, okay? There's advertising a huge cigarette, Chesterfield.
Hey, kids, they cure cancer.
Where you have to hit the ball out of to get it out of the stadium there, you'd have to hit it to a 500-foot home run. You'd have to, not out of the stadium, over the wall. You'd have to hit a 500 and, I'm just looking at it. You'd have to hit like a 510-foot home run. If you hit it to the right of the 483 in dead center, you'd hit it about 4. Yeah, because there's a fence that comes in a little bit. It'd be like a 480-foot home run to center. I don't think anybody ever did. I'm going to research this. I'll have an answer for you on Monday. I don't think anybody hit it up to where the Chesterfield sign is. That's where you'd have to hit it to get it out of the yard and over the wall. And the wall is raised. It's huge. Like, it's not a wall you can run up and jump up and touch the top of. It's insane.
Yeah, it's kind of like either Milwaukee or Arizona is probably the best example.
Yes.
That's a tall wall straightaway center in Arizona.
It's a really tall wall.
Yeah.
Like, when I want you to see, I'm going to show it to you during the break.
I know that park.
You know the wall I'm talking about with the Chesterfields?
Yeah. I wasn't there.
No.
But we got Polo Grounds and Ebbets Field stuff in my home.
Nobody hit the ball over that fence. I don't think anybody. Not Willie Mays, not anybody. Not Lou Brock, no. If they did, they hit a 500-something foot home run, we would know about it.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Town, North Monroe behind Brugger's. Best drink prices and juiciest burgers in town. Sexy French poodles welcome.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds, or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores to everyone for free, even if you're not a customer. And checking your score won't hurt your credit. We call it the Discover Credit Scorecard. And once you know your score, you should check to see if your current credit card is the best fit for you. Check your credit, compare your card. Go to discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
Welcome to Wells Fargo. How can I help you?
Well, every day I get a latte from across the street, and trust me, it's best for everyone that I come to work caffeinated. Only today, I forgot my wallet.
Don't worry. We have a new way you can get money out of the ATM. Just use your phone.
My phone?
Just open your Wells Fargo app and request a one-time access code.
Oh, that's better.
Enjoy the latte.
You have done a great service for the people in my office.
No problem.
Wells Fargo is building better every day with new ways to access your accounts. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. It's game day eve for the Garnet and Gold as Florida State packs the bags and heads on the plane up to Wake Forest with visions of Dalvin Cook in the past dancing in their head. Florida State looking for that elusive first win of the season. They'll try to do it tomorrow afternoon at Wake Forest. What is the next shoe to drop in the NCAA recruiting violation scandal? Rick Pitino is already gone. Which coach could be next? Urban Meyer saying on a Columbus radio station on Thursday that if he finds that any of his coaches had lied about violations or recruiting, he'd fire them immediately. Thursday night football, Aaron Rodgers throws for 4 touchdowns in a big win over the Chicago Bears. They may have lost Devontae Adams for some time. The Bears may be going to former Carolina quarterback Mitchell Trubisky next weekend. And some Friday night football in the ACC, one that many Seminole fans will be watching closely as the Miami Hurricanes take on Duke.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Number 2, Libations Friday edition of the Jeff Cameron Show right now. 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. We are going to bring in our good buddy Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, momentarily. By the way, online, ESPNTallahassee.com, where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always, don't miss anything. If you do, you can always email the show, jcs at 979ESPNRadio.com, and also find out about iTunes and in the audio vault, where you can get the show later on, and in YouTube, for that matter, ESPN Tallahassee. Trying to keep from coughing and sneezing simultaneously while I do an opening segment has got my brain scattered. I was like doing 6 things at once, and I was trying to fight back a sneeze. You don't want to do you can't have a sneeze right when you start up an hour. It's one thing in the middle of a segment or something I can point to you. I'm trying to get the intro in here, and I'm trying to get all the ways that they can listen to the show and do the different things, and I'm like, I can't keep track. I'm trying to keep from sneezing.
Which is a reminder that we need to go get that cough button for the other side, just in case you need it. I'm good at it now. It took a little
we've
getting
got
used
to where we have this, we got a vibe. You can just see the look, right? But yeah, I always had one, and then we don't have one here, and it can be deadly. I need it. Well, not deadly, just
I'll click on the trigger these days.
Woo! My man Lee Sterling's on a run. 5 straight winning weeks, 24-4 over the last 30 and 35 play units there, unit plays. He's been dominating.
Yeah, it's been a good run. 5-0 this year on the 30 and 35 unit plays. 24-4 run dating back to last year. So last week we had Alabama as our big play in college football. They won 59-0. The NFL, we had the Saints plus 5.5. They won by 3 touchdowns. So I found a game in college this week. I call it my college football underdog shocker. It'll be 35 units. This team is getting at least a touchdown. I think they're going to win the game outright. And then in the NFL, my NFL game of the month goes, I found a game that's off everyone's radar that a team is just ready for, and it's not a very good team, but everything is set up right. They're playing at home. They have some coaches from the other team on their staff. Other team has some weaknesses they can exploit. So you want to get both. How about this? And it's been a great run, and everyone's happy. The only thing I realize I need to do is I need to get everyone involved. So even if you're a $30, $40, and $50 player, you can afford it this week. It's not $20, $25 a selection. How about this? 7 games on Saturday, including my college football underdog shocker, just $77. And on Sunday, 5 games, $55, and it will include my NFL game of the month. So there is no reason that someone can't get involved this weekend.
Good weekend to do it. Interesting games. I'm right off the bat. Let's look at the college games. I'm excited about your thoughts on Florida Vanderbilt. Florida's given 10, and I like Florida to win the game. But I feel like 10 points is an awful lot for Florida to be giving anybody, like people at the local Y, anybody. I mean, like Florida barely wins any game they play. They win, but they barely win. And I know Vandy just got stomped, but Florida's not Alabama. So the 10 points, what say you?
Yeah, in fact, in the 2 games that they've played since this new coaching regime has taken over Vanderbilt, Florida has scored all of 9 and 13 points. So you want to lay double digits? I'm not going to do it. The market might have changed since Vanderbilt lost, but the matchups are, I think, pretty good here for Vanderbilt. They need to run the ball to be successful. I don't think Florida's D is that great, especially their run defense. They're allowing 4.5 yards per carry. And series visitor 8-1 in this series here. I like Florida to win 24-18, but they're not covering double digits.
Oh, good. I think alongside you on this one. Miami tonight, we get a cool slate of Friday night games, which is kind of rare.
How about this? Maybe 2 of the top 4, 2 of the top 5 games are tonight.
Yeah,
usually it's Boise or South Florida playing on Friday nights.
Yeah, no question. And normally I'm just kind of watching because I'm a football junkie, or maybe I've got action on the game. But tonight I'm watching just as a football fan that would watch this game no matter what, because I think it's kind of intriguing. You follow Miami very closely, and I watch them obviously a little bit closer than I do some other teams in the ACC. I feel like they should beat Duke pretty handily, but I know it's a tough road. I mean, you're on the road at night. Duke will play this game like it's a Super Bowl. Yeah. And Miami has some weaknesses. So what do you say about the Canes giving 6.5?
Yeah, this could be a trap game here, and Miami is going to have to be prepared. They can't have the breaks in coverage. They had a lot of breaks in coverage from their linebackers and defensive backs. Defensive line, I mean, they look really good, and that's going to be their strength, but they're going to have to play more sound. I think that Duke has improved because, they have a quarterback that gets things done. He's a dual-threat kid. They run the ball. They've gained at least 180 rushing yards in every game, thrown for at least 190 in all 4 games. And their run defense has been pretty good, allowing they've not allowed anyone to run for more than 120 yards on them. So Miami, I just think, is more explosive. Like Florida State, they have guys like Walton. One point, he had 4 carries for 163 yards last week. He's special. I think they have those guys that can shake and bake and break one tackle and go 70 to 80 yards, and Duke doesn't have those guys. Also, Duke getting, how about this, 120 more snaps than their opponents this year. 87.5 snaps per game. That's not going to happen in this game. Miami will slow them down. I like Miami here by double digits, 31-21.
Florida State hasn't won a game yet. It is a little deceiving because they've missed out on the opportunity to play a couple of games. And so for a lot of people in their mind, they're week 4, week 5, they're going, man, Florida State hasn't won a game. Well, they only played 2, and one of them was against Alabama. So it is kind of weird. At the same time, things have not looked good, and they've struggled in the red zone. They should, as you note, be able to dominate with athleticism. But they're 0-2 going against a 4-0 team. Wake Forest fired up for this game. They're given 7.5, 7, depending on where you're looking. Right. They did get the good news that Auden Tate's coming back. Who you got in this game?
How about this? I went back and I was searching. When do you think the last time Wake and Duke were both 4-0?
It's never happened, right?
Never. So
yeah,
it's them going 5-0 or close to nothing. I think Florida State's D is going to gobble up this Wake Forest offense. They just don't have the playmakers. And Florida State's played the number 1 schedule in the country, Wake Forest number 107. They should have lost last week when Appalachian State missed 2 field goals. I think James Blackman's going to sit in. I think he's going to be just fine. So Florida State also have trouble against NC State, but the game after, they're 5-0 the last 5 games. I like Florida State 30-12.
New Orleans and Miami. It's funny, Lee. We've been doing this show for a long time, and it's you and I often agree. Occasionally we disagree, but it's funny when you pick games and you're doing it twice, and there's a third game that I think you and I are on the same page on that you were hinting at the beginning of the segment. I think I know who you're talking about, but in terms of the game of the month for the NFL, I jumped all over the Saints in this game in London. Did I do the wrong thing giving 2.5?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, sometimes there's overreaction to what happens one week to the next week. But
I had the Saints last week too against Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was a great situational setup, and Carolina with all the injuries. Now look at last night. The public was all over the Bears because they looked good in the first couple games, and Green Bay had shown really nothing. And get a good quarterback, and he just picks apart a team. Now Jay Cutler is by no means in that class.
I was going to say.
I just think that this Miami team, they're familiar with playing in London. Jacksonville was. I mean, Jacksonville's won 3 of the last 5 times there. Miami played there in 2015. They've played in the stadium 4 times. They usually score. I mean, they've scored at least 25 points in 8 of the last 13 games here. New Orleans is not a good defensive team. They played so hard last week. Everything worked for them. And Miami will be getting back Timmons. They have some real weaknesses at linebacker, but through injuries, those guys are coming back. I like Miami in a shootout here, 34-30. I think I think Breeze is great, but I think just Miami has too many weapons.
It'll be an interesting game. I hope you're wrong. Tampa Bay is giving 3 to the Giants, and I'm scared to death of this game because the Bucs are the walking wounded. And they literally 6-7 guys on defense last week getting hurt, not being able to play. Baker didn't make the trip. Obviously, Grimes didn't play. You can go on down the list with Ayers and all these different guys. So it seems like on paper you would take the Bucs, give the 3 to dominate a winless Giants team. But I don't know. I don't know if they have enough guys to slow down New York from scoring. What say you in this game?
Well, if they had Rodgers at quarterback, they probably might be okay. I mean, Green Bay, they had lost probably half their starters by the end of the game last night. So that was a real problem for them. But, people forget that the Giants, I mean, this was a team last year that was 11-5. I mean, okay, so they started 0-3, still have a stout defense. They don't have the injuries that Tampa Bay has. And maturity-wise, I just don't know if this Tampa Bay team is there yet. Giants have nothing to lose. They might show a couple trick plays here. I mean, and who's gonna guard the Giants receivers? I just think that's where Tampa Bay, their linebackers and DBs, they're just too beaten up. Also, defensive tackle. I mean, the key spots there. So I don't know if Winston can have a big enough game here without his star running back to win this game. I like the G-men here. I think they win this game here 26-20.
That'd be a tough pill to swallow in Tampa because coming up after that, they got the Patriots. Game of the week, how can folks get it? I love it. It's Georgia minus 7.5. This could be the one that, at least temporarily saves Butch, or it could be the time that they have to take him out back. Georgia given 7.5 against Tennessee. How can they get this game?
Just call me here at the office, 800-400-9741. We'll give you Georgia and Tennessee. It's on me, so it shapes up to be a great weekend. So I want to get everyone involved. That's why I lowered the price. 7 games in college, including my college football underdog shocker, just $77. And as soon as you purchase it, a window pops open with all the games. So you can get it now. You don't have to wait until Saturday to purchase it. I want you to play the games at the lines right now. I think they're advantageous to us winning. And then also on the NFL, 5 games, 55 on Sunday, and that will include my NFL game of the month. So it shapes up, I think, to be a great weekend watching and viewing games and also playing these games. It's all available, ParamountSports.com.
Always appreciate it, Lee. Be well, enjoy the games, and we'll talk again next week.
Sounds good. Big week next week.
Oh, yeah. Good times. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that.
No fraternizing with the enemy next week.
Be well, good sir.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. And once again, it was Florida not covering against Vandy. It was Miami covering tonight against Duke. Florida State covering against Wake, given the 7.5. He has Miami over in London taking out the Saints in a game we disagree on. I was worried about this, Tom, with the Giants pick. I told you during the Scuttlebucks, I don't have a real good feel for this. I don't like this game.
I don't either. No, but if they win it, it's a growth game. Because
it's a huge growth game because this is the kind of game good teams, even good teams, can lose. When you have personnel issues, you're reeling. And as he noted, the Giants don't have anything to lose. It is
Well, listen, nobody's saying that Winston is Rodgers, and clearly Lee didn't say that either. Yeah. But can a quarterback go win a game for us? I mean, can he go win the game for us? Can he go put 28, 34 points on the board so we don't have to think about this twice?
Can we stop somebody from scoring 34 points? Because I don't think so.
But damn it, man, he needs to go win us a couple of games right now. That defense is the walking wounded, as you just said.
I agree he does, and he might play well enough to do that, and that's fine because good quarterbacks find a way to do that sometimes. But I don't know that we're going to stop the Giants from scoring. I mean, he could throw up 35 and we could lose. I mean,
I'd like to see him throw up 35 just so I know it's in him. That's what this offensive thing has all been about, the revolution of getting weapons and all that stuff.
Right.
Well, where's the production? We need the production.
I agree. He's been really productive in his 2 years in Tampa Bay with all kinds of proof that he's really, really good.
Of course there is, but it's supposed, this is the era now where the offense has enough weapons that it's supposed to be able to carry us when the defense sucks. And right now the defense sucks because it's hurt.
Yeah, and I think there are elements of the defense that are going to suck when they're healthy.
Probably so.
But yeah.
If
my point is, if he scores 35 to 38 points and we lose this weekend, it ain't going to be him. That's my bigger fear. I'm not worried about him scoring this weekend. They're going to score. They're just not going to stop anybody.
I hope they score. I'd like to see that with consistency.
You let that Minnesota game freak you out, man. It's
that. Listen, in the red zone, they haven't been efficient. They haven't been efficient this year.
No.
Preseason has led into regular season inefficiencies in the red zone. That is translated. You've got to finish drives.
I agree. I think being able to run the ball even a little bit would certainly help in that category. I mean, everybody knows they're going to throw on every single down. So I just don't think you can have any kind of efficiency whatsoever if you can't run the football.
But we can't apologize for him forever. He's going to have to win us football games this year. We knew that coming into the year, and so far we handled it. We handled our business. We had a pick 6 in game 1. They did plenty enough to get out of the game by the third, fourth quarter. In this last game, you've got you don't have the right to have the opportunity to still be in the game last week. You don't with the way the defense played. However, you were still in the game.
That's true, no doubt. And I'm not saying he's devoid of making dumb decisions. Never have. They carried the ball with the running back 7 times last week. I just don't know what we expect necessarily him to be, other than a top 15 quarterback, which he already is. And if he's going to take the next step, then obviously I think the team's going to have to get better. But yeah, he can go score a lot of points this weekend. I mean, it's a team game, so I'm going to need the other guys to step up. I think that will help. One thing I am concerned about, and if Winston plays bad, we'll say it, but O.J. Howard has done nothing. He's provided 0 for this team. And I thought he would make an immediate impact, not just a gradual, but, I mean, he blocks. Oh, well, we had a blocking tight end. We had one. I need you to be a dynamic offensive weapon.
Frankly, it looks like they're not scheming it up for him to be much involved right now.
I mean, that tells me he's swimming. He doesn't understand because he's useless right now. And I don't mean that meanly. I mean, he's just not really providing you anything on the offense. I mean, we got plenty of people who can block a tight end.
That's true, but they're also
Luke can block and Cam can block. We had people who could block.
Well, they're scheming for Cam though, because Cam is the incumbent and Cam is the offensive player. So right now, with the roles being shifted,
but when you're O.J. Howard and you're blessed with what he has, there's no reason that you haven't taken over that role as the offensive weapon tight end. He hasn't, and they don't trust him clearly.
I don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're scheming for him for a different reason, though. I think that they are so comfortable that they know where Cam Brate's going to be that they don't even want to rock the boat because his contract's up this year. So play him in a high leverage situation where he needs to be good.
Well, then we shouldn't have drafted. I mean, I think we drafted a guy who we thought would come in and play and stretch the seams immediately. I mean, he's too dynamic not to have thought that, and that's why we were all so excited to get him. I need him to be a little, and maybe he does. He's played 2 games. So maybe he does. Just the way that they don't call anything for him, and when they do, I sense that he's not real sure. Jameis doesn't trust that he knows where to go.
Yeah. Well, it could be. It could be that. For me, again, it's not that the Minnesota game spooked me. It's that still the deep ball accuracy is not there yet, and it cost you.
Not consistently at all. You're right.
In a key situation in this last game.
That interception was the one. That's the one where I was extremely pissed and highly critical in the moment of that interception because great quarterbacks make that throw 9 times out of 10. And he didn't, and it was at a critical juncture in the game. The defense had already put you in a huge hole, 14-3. You needed to answer, and you had a shot, and you got to make it happen. I agree. That was bad. First of all, I throw out the 3rd pick. Don't care anything about it. It's nothing. It's a nothing pick. The 2nd pick is bad. There are mitigating circumstances. The first one's the one that was disgusting, and it was critical, and it ended up kind of costing you the game, at least offensively. The defense not making stops is the other thing that cost you the game, but yes.
The second one to me, if what Dirk is saying is accurate too, that he missed a man zone indicator. So it's a pre-snap read that led to a poor decision.
Right.
I think that's where Dirk is frustrated. And if that's the case, Well, then damn it, man, because, again, it's 31-24. You talk about it all the time, game pressure.
Yeah.
Minnesota had already,
Yeah,
as
it's
we said with
31-17 at the time of that pick. If he doesn't make that pick and they go down and score, you put game pressure on.
Right, and we, as we said on the Scuttlebucks a few times, Minnesota are already puckered on a drive.
Yeah,
They're up 31-17, and they call a series of asinine 3 plays. They punt back, and it's 31-24. Now they're really feeling the pressure.
Oh, I agree. It was not a good situation. That's not a good look. That's a bad pick. They've played 2 games. I don't. Is he a perfect quarterback? God, no. They're going to have to find a semblance of balance. They got to get an occasional stop. I mean, now I'm pulling a Jimbo, but you work together. And if you're going to put your offense in a situation where they got to score 40 points a game every week because you can't make stops, and if you're going to be in a situation where you have no balance whatsoever because you don't have a running game without Doug Martin, we'll see if Doug is going to be a huge help. I agree with you there. But if he's not in there, here's what happens then. Ugly picks is what happened because the whole league knows you have to throw, and they don't respect anything else, and he's going to throw picks in that situation.
The one thing Lee didn't hit on, hours ago when he made his pick on this game, sorry about this devolving into a long Bucs discussion, but, the Giants give up well over 100 yards a game. I think it's over 120 yards a game on the ground.
Which sucks because we can't take advantage of it, not with those bums.
I think... Again, maybe with the Quiz, who is an average running back, I think if the Giants are that bad against the run, and I like this offensive line, Sweezy better be healthy.
Yeah, and we better be dedicated to it. You can't. If you go 3 and out because you chose to run the ball, that's not how the run game works, man. You got to wear people out on the run game.
Right.
Stick with it.
Yes.
And if you get down 7-0, stick with it. If you get down 14-3, stick with it. You got to wear people out, man.
Yeah.
Now, again, I know we're at that place where all of a sudden it gets a couple scores away from you and you don't believe your defense is going to get stopped, so you're tempted to just throw it. But I promise you, if you do that, he's going to throw a ton of interceptions, and so would any quarterback.
I fully agree with you on all counts. It's just, the talking point entering the season is it looks like Tampa was the hot pick to be the elite offense, and that better show up soon because it looks like the sustainability of the defense holding opponents under 20 points is not going to be there. So you need it to be.
It can't be an elite offense if you can't run the ball. You have to run the ball at some point, even a little bit. Now, does Doug Martin make all the difference in the world? He might very well, because at least he's an NFL running back. These cats here.
I can tell you, in the few times we ran the football, there were things there. Cutback
and
lanes.
Our guys didn't see it. There were 2 in particular that we didn't see.
And Martin's got much better cutback vision. There's no doubt. He doesn't have the top-end speed. The other thing I'm concerned about, which is why it would have been nice to have Dalvin, but again, given the situation, I get why you take Howard.
And if we get weeks on into the season, I'm going to start thinking we should have taken Dalvin more because not even just because of Dalvin's ability, just because, OJ, I'm going to need you to do something here.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to take
it sounds like it's a mess. It's not a mess yet,
but
don't put a clunker out there on Sunday.
Well,
then it's a mess.
If they lose on Sunday, I said this on the Scuttlebucks, and it may seem so premature because it's a long year and things happen and things change drastically in that league, especially on the injury front. But I really do feel like if they lose on Sunday, they'll be lucky to go 8-8, and our whole year is over.
Well, dude, that's not cool. Are we going to have to assemble and watch this game?
Yes, it's an important game because they're going to go 1-3 if they lose this game.
Okay.
Because that's what's going to happen. And then when you're 1-3, and man, I'll tell you what, I'm glad I don't coach the Bucs. And you'd have to have thicker skin than maybe I have. There's a toxic element to Tampa media. And they can't wait for them to be bad. It's ridiculous. They can't wait to attack. They want to rip They want to rip Dirk. They want to rip Jameis. They want to rip the They do. They live for it. They almost hate if they're good. It pisses them off if they're good. They don't know what to do with that. They'll find all these other caveats.
I hear you. They want to rip Jameis too, which is why I tend to be reluctant. But I mean,
there are times to rip him. There are times to rip him. I don't think complete 40-something passes to 7 runs on the road is a time to worry about it. I think the time to worry about it is when the game is in the balance and it's evenly played and he kills us on a throw that costs you the game. They kill him then.
My thing is, if he makes that touchdown throw, you might still have a chance to be balanced in your run-pass calling.
You might, and that's what Dirk would tell me. And, all right. I disagree.
We disagree.
We can do this. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
And a Pepsi. Indulge your taste buds and experience all the flavor of Italy right here in Tallahassee. Visit Urban Food Market today, located in the center of Tallahassee. Urban Food Market, proud to serve Pepsi.
O'Reilly. Need auto parts? Get them with a click at the new O'ReillyAuto.com. Shop online and we'll ship the order to your home, or you can pick it up for free at the O'Reilly Auto Parts store nearest you. The choice is yours. Shop the way that's convenient for you and get the exact parts you need to get the job done right. O'ReillyAuto.com. Parts for your car wherever you are.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. It's game day eve for the Garnet and Gold as Florida State packs the bags and heads on the plane up to Wake Forest with visions of Dalvin Cook in the past dancing in their head. Florida State looking for that elusive first win of the season. They'll try to do it tomorrow afternoon at Wake Forest. What is the next shoe to drop in the NCAA recruiting violation scandal? Rick Pitino is already gone. Which coach could be next? Urban Meyer saying on a Columbus radio station on Thursday that if he finds that any of his coaches had lied about violations or recruiting, he'd fire them immediately. Thursday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers throws for 4 touchdowns in a big win over the Chicago Bears. They may have lost Devontae Adams for some time. The Bears may be going to former Carolina quarterback Mitchell Trubisky next weekend. And some Friday Night Football in the ACC, one that many Seminole fans will be watching closely as the Miami Hurricanes take on Duke.
Jeff, email. Jeff, email. We'll get to this Beer 30 here in just a moment, Tom. I know it's that time, but I want to read this and get this in. A lot of great emails this week. Another thought on Pitino. Looking at the big picture of this scandal, I can understand why some also ran hoops programs like Miami. Nicely done. Would be trying to lure 5-star recruits with bribe money. See Ole Miss football. But why would a blue blood like Louisville have to resort to such tactics? It's almost like Pitino is getting Nixon-like in his old age. And, of course, the paranoia of Tricky Dicky during Watergate and all that during an election in which they're winning by a landslide. I got you. I get the... At least we know now how underpaid Louisville assistant Andre McGee came up with the cash for the strippers. I had merely assumed it was from a huge rogue booster, similar to what Miami had with, say, Nevin Shapiro. But now it's pretty obvious that the entire venture was bankrolled by Adidas money and Rick Pitino. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so what the point you're making here, David, is a good one in this sense. There are programs out there where you do not have to stoop to the desperation that you see there from Louisville.
And I get that.
And they would be one of them you would have thought.
Louisville will get some blue chip recruits, but they recruit kids to come play defense. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they're a run and gun
scoring 100
Kentucky
points
style.
a game, yeah.
You know, people would think Cal, given that he's got all of the one and dones and that they play at times some of the most amazing offensive basketball. He will teach and instill defensive principles, but they light up the scoreboard. Malik Monk, for example, is somebody who would light up the scoreboard, where at Louisville it's field goal percentage defense under 40%, and you win a bunch of games 62-48. That's just interesting to me.
It is very odd that he would do it. The man is one of the more esteemed coaches just for on-the-court success in all the world and all the game, and you wouldn't suspect that you're going to read about Coach K in this. You're not going to read about – I don't think you're going to read – well, North Carolina's had their issues.
I cover my ass.
But I wonder, yeah, I always assume the really over-the-top, egregious forms of cheating that go on in big-time college athletics are usually the programs that are stuck competing consistently in Power 5 conferences against elite, several elite teams. Like listen, I would suspect from just being completely objective, I would suspect a team like Florida State or Miami or out of the SEC where you saw Alabama's caught up in this, schools like that, if they wanted to seriously compete for college basketball championships.
Yeah, Auburn, you mean, right?
No, but Alabama's caught up in this.
Are they too?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoa.
So I would, one of their assistants is done. Yeah.
How about that?
So I would think schools like that would have to do it. Would say, we're tired of being also Rams, but we're competing against North Carolina, Duke, you name it. The only way we're going to get on the same footing as them is to really kind of make inroads these next 4 or 5 years with some elite recruits that we're competing for, get a few of those, win some games, change the reputation of the program, and take off from there. We're going to take a calculated risk. This is what Ole Miss did. We're going to take in football. We're going to take a calculated risk. We're going to cheat our ass off. The whole world is going to be suspect at the very least. But if we can get away with it, if we can just pull the wool over the eyes, if the system is complex enough where we are able to deny it and they can never trace it and it happens, we can successfully turn around. Baylor did it. We can successfully turn around our program. We'll get our boosters to buy in. We'll start the campaign. It'll coincide with winning. Then all of a sudden investment will follow, new facilities, new reputation, and we change what we are forevermore. It's a long-term investment plan. When Baylor got good, it wasn't lost on me that Baylor had never been good, ever, in the history of football. And then they suddenly were. And they built a brand new stadium, which I drove past and was stunned to see. It's breathtaking. Baylor had no cause, no reason. There was never a reason to believe that Baylor ought to be good, ever. And then they were. So when you find out that they were largely ignoring brutal crimes, coaches were sweeping under the rug things that were told to them by students at the university that their players had done.
Or another coach of a transfer player.
Right. Or another coach of a transfer player, that they accepted players that had spotty records and or overtly bad records. That didn't surprise me because, how did Baylor get good at football, right? I mean, that made sense. And it always makes sense. If San Diego State comes out of the blue to go 12-0 in football, and all of a sudden you read that they're building a brand new facility at San Diego State, you might raise a jaundiced eye. You might say, well, that's curious. 100 years of football, never done a thing except for when they had Marshall Faulk for a couple of years, and that was suspect too. Right? But why would Louisville, why would Duke, why would North Carolina? And in college football, I dare say, the game is dirty. I got it. Everybody's speeding. But to the extent we're talking here, I don't think Alabama has to do that. I don't think that Florida State or Florida I'm not saying those schools don't cheat sometimes or that they don't bend the rules and step across that line sometimes. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about something entirely different here now. We're talking about corruption at a very deep level. They're breaking federal laws. I don't think that's the kind of cheating we're usually accustomed to association with big-time college athletics. And if it was going to happen, you would think it would happen at Alabama. The places that got caught up in this, some of them are big-time, and that strikes me as odd.
Well, okay. Maybe looking at it this way, if I'm just trying to put the Louisville hat on for a moment. Kentucky and Duke get essentially all of the, top 10, top 12 players in the country's recruiting class. Like, between the two of them, it's like they divide up 80% of the 5 stars, it seems, each and every year. Once Coach K had altered his way of recruiting to one-and-done city. Calipari started. Duke has certainly jumped on board, and it's been Cal and K, and they go to war, and they go get the best. Perhaps it's because the overwhelming distribution of true top-level players go to those two universities that the other second-tier university, even though Louisville makes it to the Sweet 16 pretty much every single season, and he's been to a bunch of Final Fours, and he's won a title, perhaps there's desperation after all of the one-and-done top-level talent goes elsewhere. Now you've got to get the best of the next tier, and that's why he's funneling money to players, because Cal and K are just so good at getting North Carolina is mixed in there as well. But, if you look at the last few years of recruiting classes and you see the distribution of the top players in the country, it's like Kentucky, Duke,
Kansas,
and then the percentage of everybody else is about equal.
Yeah. Well, Cal has done amazing things that, given what he was prior to getting to Kentucky at Memphis, as we well know, and before that, UMass, and he's been busted kind of everywhere he's ever been, so it's hard to imagine that they're on the up and up, but maybe at Kentucky you don't have to because it's Kentucky, because you along with UCLA and Kansas really are the and Duke, preeminent programs of all time. I don't know. I'm surprised what's coming out of this isn't just that it's 3 and 4 times removed a person acting at the behest of, say, a rogue booster who's willing to pay for the successes he wants to see every Saturday, or in the case of college basketball, a few times a week, but rather it's him. That's crazy. I think wherever it does go on, even if it does happen at the best programs in the country, the head coach does probably have a good bit of plausible deniability. They're not setting up a system to, remember that bad movie, but it's endearing to me, just Blue Chips?
Oh, yeah, Nick Nolte, Shaq, Anthony Hardaway.
Right, the whole thing, yeah. But if you recall the scene with the booster, who's the rogue booster, who's been paying for kids to come there for a long time, there's this incredulous look on Nick Nolte's face as if he didn't know it was coming. And of course, the booster says, how do you think this kid came here or this kid came here? How do you think that happened? Right? And I believe a lot of times, that's where this new rule is in play in the NCAA, where you can't hide behind, I didn't know.
No, I totally agree.
When Reggie Bush rolled up in a brand new car and you recruited him knowing how poor he was and where he came from, and all of a sudden he's driving, a $50,000 automobile, Pete Carroll should have gone, well, that's curious.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
In the 2017 recruiting class, Duke 4 5-stars, Kentucky 6 5-stars. 2016, Duke 4 5-stars, Kentucky 5 5-stars. You go back to the 2015 recruiting class, Kentucky 3 5-stars, Duke 4 5-stars. And no other university in those years has more than 2 5-stars to each team. So what I'm saying is, if you're in that next tier, you're looking to get the rest of the best.
No, I get why you would maybe do it, or why you could see, and that's the argument you're making why it happens. I don't disagree with that, but man, he's won national championships, and he won one at Louisville. I mean, it's just
maybe that's how he did. You have to go back to 2013. This is according to the composite rankings of 24/7 Sports. You have to go all the way back to the 2013 recruiting class. That's a long time ago for me to find another program with more than 2 5-stars in a given class, and that was Kansas back in 2013. But since then, it's been Duke, Kentucky, Duke. Mostly Cal's winning those battles for one and dones, but Duke has emerged as the other team. So kind of like how in college football, you'll see a top 5 ranking change every once in a while because of depth if you bring in a bunch of 4-stars. But you see how Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, they're 1 and 2, and then the other parts kind of interchange between Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, whoever. Florida for a couple of years in there too. Certainly not anymore. In the same way, right now, those parts between Kansas and North Carolina, even Indiana one year made its way in there. Arizona's made it in there to a top 5, UCLA. But it's been Kentucky and Duke getting every one, it seems, of the blue chip guys that they need in a given season. So, again, the culture of the sport may be such that if you're not those two teams at the top, you have to cut corners. And maybe Pitino's just been cutting corners his entire career.
I have a suspicion that when this is all said and done, and maybe there'll be an opportunity for us to get a greater depth of knowledge on the breadth of this, as to how many years has this been going on, how many programs are involved in similar type shoe deals and manufacturer type. I mean, they're all represented by somebody. I'm saying, might we get a sense during testimony of some kind that this is the system? For lack of a better term, this is the system. This is the way it's been for eons.
Well, I think the best news that Kay and Coach Cal could have gotten out of this whole scenario is the one-liner about the biggest swinging blank in the room is Pitino.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not the best recruiter in the country, but if in that world he's the biggest,
yeah.
Well, then
then there may be untouchable.
In the court of public opinion, at least, it rules out whether Cal and Kay are on the same level of nefarious.
You still wonder what's going to happen with Larrañaga at Miami. I mean, that could be huge because he's been great down there.
Well, combine that with Haith, and you've got a systematic problem that the NCAA has to take a look at.
Well, Miami. I bet you the FBI knows the address. Just guessing. All right, let's do this. Let's do the beer 30, buddy.
Count them up, pour them out.
I'll just have a cup of coffee.
There it is. It's Beer 30, brought to you by the 7th Hill Tap Room on Appalachia Parkway.
Punch that time card, baby. Tom Lang's out here punching time cards.
That stuck with you.
Well, because they don't exist anymore, and it cracks me up. And I punched a time card, and you probably didn't, or did you?
No, I did.
Did you? You had a legitimate punch time card.
Yeah, when I was at the McAllisters in the mall, that was the first electronic time card system I ever had. But
did you ever have the guy set up the system so that we all get punched in at the same time, even if you're not there, and then it's my turn tomorrow?
I didn't.
Oh.
No, seriously. No, the guys in the morning, the shift in the morning was for the old guys in the cart barn. They had a system. They had it down.
Oh, I had the system down. I was the mastermind of the system. You might say, lean that way. I was able to kind of take in my fellow workers in the cart barn and say, now, guys, there's no sense in all of us being here at 5 a.m. to ready the carts. We don't have to do that.
Yeah.
It's my weekend. You guys have fun tonight. I will be here and making sure everybody's clocked in on time. You get that extra couple hours. Next weekend, I'm going out all night long, and you are making sure. And when we had a system in play, and everybody had to adhere to that.
We had one thing backfire one time. Is my buddy Paul, my coworker, the afternoon shift. So Paul had a recreational habit or two.
Sure.
As a lot of people do in the golf business.
Oh, yeah. Lends itself to that.
Yeah. But Paul had to leave to restock for his recreational habit during the shift.
So it was a worthy reason of leaving the job.
But I was going to cover for him.
Right.
I'm out.
You're a good human being.
I'm doing
what you do.
Well, I'm doing that stupid job I told you about where I'm dragging the fence around and it's breaking up
Moving
the grass clippings.
Yeah.
So over the radio comes the boss, Tim, and he says, "Hey, you seen Paul? I can't find him anywhere." And I'm doing the right thing. I'm out on hole 6, so Tim can't come yell at me and look me in the eye.
Right.
So I wait, calm myself. I go, I haven't seen him, but he told me he was out going to get range balls, and he goes, BS, he says, the actual, his car's not in the parking lot. Try again.
So he busted you.
Well, he busted Paul, and he said, don't cover for him again. Paul came back. He still had the job. I go, man, you might want to get picked up next time. Because if your car is gone from the employee lot, I can't do anything.
I can't help you. My dad, when he lived in Hialeah as a kid, he worked at a furniture store for an old Cuban guy who had a problem with the horses. Like to gamble with the horses, and his wife knew it, and he owned this furniture store, and my dad was his guy, right? So my dad did all the deliveries, and he would stock, he would do it all, and he loved this old guy, the guy would always tell him, hey, I'm going over there, Jim, and my dad would go, I got you. He goes, so if she calls, this is the beauty of not having cell phones in the back in the day. You do what you do and whatever. So the phone rings, and my dad be like, oh, no, yeah, he's right now, he's doing a delivery with Jerry or whatever he'd say, right? And she's like, but he owns the store. He's not delivering nothing. So she would know it was nonsense, but my dad knew how many minutes it took for her to get there from their house. And if he could tell she wasn't buying it on the phone, if he wasn't good enough, he'd hang up the phone and race over to the track and be like, you got to get back. I'm sure she's on her way. And they more than once got busted, like kind of the in-between, like the old Cuban guy's running in from the back, and she's coming in.
Profusely sweating.
Oh, yeah, just like out of breath because he was not in shape. And, and she's like, where have you been? He goes, oh, we were doing a delivery, and my dad would crack up as he was trying to, But the guy would always give my dad a little extra money, like, good on you, Jim.
Your dad does not have a silent laugh either, so I doubt that went over well.
Well, it hurt him in the military because he got in so much trouble all the time whenever the drill instructors would say something funny to somebody else. He'd be, ha! Cracking up at the end. And so, yeah, that's why Full Metal Jacket is perfect.
Yeah.
Everything about it. Just cracking up laughing. He's like, man, I did more push-ups than any human being has a right to.
Garden hose or
golf
ball or something. Yeah. I don't know why those two would be related.
Yeah, those kinds of things. It is Beer 30 this Saturday at the Seventh Hill Tap Room. Enjoy a wing feast. Yay, wings! And brews, that's true, too. That's good. You watch the FSU Wake Forest game at 3:30. Just for $25, you'll have access to delicious wing buffet plus a $15 self-service tap card. Our thanks to the Seventh Hill Tap Room right underneath the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee's home for the freshest Florida craft brews.
Yeah, man. Feels like we just had a happy hour segment without the libations part.
Yeah, I'm just laughing, picturing my dad cracking up or panicking trying to get a hold of that old guy who owned the furniture store. I go, man, because you're trying to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's out there, he's betting on the horses. Who cares? Let the man bet on the horses.
Laughing at the bleep moment when Paul's rolling into the employee parking lot, and there's Tim standing right there in the parking spot. He's just waiting on him. Oh, where you been?
Well, and if he was doing what you're saying he was doing, I doubt he waited, so that was probably not good to be pulling into your spot with red eyes.
Well, I'm sure he was at least stoic in that moment.
Jeff Cameron, Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
the place to find your next truck in Southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
To you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
Yo, where the hell are you? Dude, I'm here, sitting at the bar. Where are you? The hell you are? I've been here for 30 minutes. Erroneous. BS. I've been sitting at this bar for 3 hours drinking pecan whiskey. We said Pensacola, dude. Why would we meet there? We're old men, and that's for the kids. Hashtag Northsiders. Did you just hashtag me? Hashtag hell yes. See you in 30. Get the mahi and a beer.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
And now, a Sport Clips well-played moment.
Gentlemen, as you sit in your car or on your stationary bicycle to victory, what do you ponder? Do you think about the fantasy trade your soon-to-be ex-best friend denied? That speech you rehearsed in the shower to confront the loud chewer at your office? Or have you forgotten what you think about? Fear not, because we have a lot on our minds, which includes a head of hair that must be maintained. Sport Clips Haircuts knows this, which is exactly why they created the ultimate haircut place for men who have other things to think about. A great MVP haircut experience with a hot steam towel, massaging shampoo, and sweet, sweet sports on TV. Everything you need for the hair on your head and face with little thought, planning, or preparation. Watch sports, feel great, problem solved. Then when it's done, look in the mirror and say to yourself, well played, sir. Well played.
Sport Clips Haircuts. Find a location near you at sportclips.com.
Napa know-how.
When you purchase a set of Napa brake pads and rotors, you get a discount code from Fanatics.com worth up to $50 towards your favorite sports gear. While Napa can't help your team reach the promised land, we can help make sure your car will, because these brakes come with something no sports team does: guaranteed performance. Great brakes, great price, great fan gear. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
Offer expires September 30th, 2017.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Short segment means we get right to it, and this isn't good. You've not been to South Florida. You will be soon enough. If you go far enough south, you can check the Florida swamps out and the Everglades, so forth. Scientists have identified 3 reptiles captured near Miami as Nile crocodiles from Africa. Oh, that's what we're doing here. We've got Nile crocodiles making their way into Florida. No. You know the difference between a Nile crocodile and an alligator, for example?
Yeah, the crocodiles are aggressive as hell.
And a lot bigger. Much, much bigger. Through DNA testing, scientists from the University of Florida were able to confirm that the creatures captured there were Nile crocodiles, the second largest reptile species in the world. The findings were published in the Journal of Herpetological Conservation. Okay. Study could mean that more of these man-eating creatures are lingering in the Sunshine State. The odds that the few we found were all Nile crocodiles out there suggest that there are many, many, many more. We know they can survive in the Florida wilderness for numerous years. We know that they grow quickly here, and we know their behavior in their native range, and there's no reason to suggest they would change just because they were in Florida. If you're wondering, by the way, Nile crocodiles between 2010 and 2014 have been responsible for 123 fatalities in Africa on 480 attacks. No, man.
Aggressive as hell. How'd they get here?
Same way the snakes did, man. Dumbasses bring them over and drop them off, and they realize they're not pets, and then you throw them in the swamps, and boom, they flourish. It's not a good deal, man.
Congratulations, a-holes.
No, Nile crocodiles. I love watching specials on crocodiles. They're awesome, but they are the closest thing we have to dinosaurs. That and like great white sharks and certain birds. You look at those things, you go, ooh. You transport me back millions of years seeing those things. Only a lot bigger. It's freaky. Final hour, forthcoming.
My solitude over my head. Don't you wonder sometimes about something vision?
Fire up the grills for another season of Seminole football.
2nd and 3. Patient.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra E-Max 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Even go to the Renaissance Center at 435 North Macomb Street to pay our bill.
Wow. The E really does stand for easy, doesn't it?
It sure does. E Plus from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities.
Mahindra's inventory clearance is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra 750S Camo as low as $135 a month. Or up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Only from Mahindra.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSupercenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. It's game day eve for the Garnet and Gold as Florida State packs the bags and heads on the plane up to Wake Forest with visions of Dalvin Cook in the past dancing in their head. Florida State looking for that elusive first win of the season. They'll try to do it tomorrow afternoon at Wake Forest. What is the next shoe to drop in the NCAA recruiting violation scandal? Rick Pitino is already gone. Which coach could be next? Urban Meyer saying on a Columbus radio station on Thursday that if he finds that any of his coaches had lied about violations or recruiting, he'd fire them immediately. Thursday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers throws for 4 touchdowns in a big win over the Chicago Bears. They may have lost Devontae Adams for some time. The Bears may be going to former Carolina quarterback Mitchell Trubisky next weekend. And some Friday Night Football in the ACC, one that many Seminole fans will be watching closely as the Miami Hurricanes take on Duke.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for this week. Libations Friday edition of the program. Noles taking it on the road against Wake Forest. Now I'm getting antsy. Now I'm ready to watch football. Now I'm ready to see Florida State kicking somebody's ass. Not just skirting by, Tom. I'm fired up. I want a big win. I need revenge. I got bloodlust. Sorry, Wake. It's the way it's got to be. I'd run it up if I were Jimbo. If I had an opportunity to run it up, I'd run it up. I'm running flea flickers in the fourth up 40. That's me. That's what's going on this weekend. I'm shifting the attitude.
Well, that would mean you'd score 30 on Wake for the first time in 3 years.
That's right. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you do, all 3 hours are posted upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. That's a good thing. You can always email the show if you want. JCS at 979, ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameron Show. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. And we're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. You know, I talked about it in the 3 o'clock hour. I mentioned it a little bit off and on during the show. Jimbo was stoic yesterday. I liked it. Just listening to his post-practice talk and where he's at, I think he's just kind of judging by his demeanor, really, more than anything else. And I could be wrong, but I get the sense that he's locked in. He's ready. He's frustrated. I don't mean frustrated in the wrong way. I mean unleashing of a beatdown, I think, is entirely possible. I do. I think he's probably very frustrated with the fact that the season has begun not just disappointingly because you're 0-2, but with all the other factors, it feels bigger than that. And I have thought all week long that even though a lot of the things we've discussed, I think, are absolutely fair. Some of the stupid little things that Florida State isn't getting right consistently that really, really irks us all and leads to problems, in this case, a loss, etc. These are fair things to bring up. But I do believe the set of circumstances surrounding this 0-2 start also features some really, unpredictable things that you couldn't have had a way of dealing with, or maybe you wouldn't have dealt with well no matter what. I mean, nobody gets 3 weeks between games after playing a game of that magnitude and then has the storm hit and all the. It was just a bunch of weird stuff. And I think it hurt them in game. I really do believe that. Now, you never want to fall back on that. And the coach can't say that. Sounds like excuse making. But I think it's legit. It's important that they, in a weird way, maybe 6-7 weeks from now, we won't be saying this. But it's important that to just play football each week. Let's get out on the field and play football. Get into a rhythm. Find out what you're good at. What each team is good at is different. You may have offensive principles, defensive principles, things that you like. But obviously, personnel changes in college football, and every team takes on its own identity. And because you've had to switch quarterbacks, et cetera, It was just his first game. There were things he did well, some things he did poorly. But as you cultivate what those things are, you call the game differently. You get into a rhythm based on what you avoid and what you choose to emphasize. I think he's kind of, all right, ready to play. If you look at him yesterday, this is a guy doesn't want to say anything too, verbose. He doesn't want to also sound like he's down. He was just steady Eddie. But there was that kind of, a little look in his eye of, let's go play football. Now, if this turns and something happens that is even hard to imagine, like they lose the game, and it's funny how many people are jumping on the Wake Forest bandwagon right now nationally. You listen to shows nationally, you read the articles of gamblers and things like that, looking at the number. You know how many people are jumping on Wake Forest with the 7 points, the 7.5 points, depending on when you got it? It's crazy to me that and it just shows you that, a couple games and people will forget that there is a huge talent disparity between these two teams.
Yeah, but I think it's also for the same reasons that you're talking about. It's just a weird set of circumstances. There's been a month of college football, and they've only seen Florida State twice, and they lost twice. So it's almost as if Florida State's 0-4 playing Wake Forest.
Right. I think you're right. I think it's been exaggerated because of how far we're into the season. And what people know across the country is Florida State hasn't won a game. And they maybe conveniently forget they've also played 2 less games than everybody else in many cases, So I agree. I think, it's funny. It's weird to be able to do it this way. One of the ways you can look at Florida State is as an opportunity because the public is right now going to jump on anybody Florida State plays. They're going to if Florida State's given points, they're all going to jump on that team because in their mind, Florida State's terrible. But they'll conveniently forget that Florida State played pretty well against Alabama, happens to be ranked number 1, and they just played a front against NC State that's one of the better fronts in the country. That team, because they had a loss to South Carolina, in the eyes of many go, I mean, you just lost to a team that lost to South Carolina. And if you didn't see that game, you don't know NC State was infinitely superior to South Carolina, but lost situationally, lost in bizarre fashion.
Yeah, I'm ready to play a football game too.
Yeah, just
dispense with all of this crap.
Let's
play some football.
Go stomp Wake Forest, and you begin to shift the narrative. Now, listen, it's not going to mean that we pretend that what happened didn't happen, and it's not going to mean that there wasn't fair criticisms. Of course, there are plenty of those. But it also, and I thought this after the Alabama game, turned out I was wrong when we lost to NC State. Of course, I didn't know that we were going to play just so soft defensively. It's not after the Alabama game. Why would you figure that? But they did. To me, I thought the season wouldn't be a wash. I thought they'd still rise up, play good football, showcase superior athletes, and have a chance to win most of these ACC games. At this juncture, we could do a W&L again, but some of you guys are sending in predictions of 5 and 6. No, man, that's not where this is at. And if they lose to Wake Forest, I'll concur with you, and we'll all bets are off, and we'll talk about the disastrous campaign and the state of the program and what Coach Fisher is or isn't and what needs to happen and all that stuff. But this week, I think you could tell, Tom, I've really been fighting that talk because I don't think the set of circumstances equate to that larger conversation that people were having.
Well, I think the conversation that we're having is on that level agreed that it's not at, DEFCON 1. However, this isn't getting it done. You know what I mean? Like, let's say they pull it all together and they go 9-2 on this game. That's not good enough because the expectations were such that there's more to be done here.
I agree, but if you go 9-2 in a season where one of your losses is to Alabama and you lost your starting quarterback, I would have a hard time not saying that this was a good season.
Well, it would be a good season, but again, it's not up to the standard. What standard are we playing for here? Are we playing for, it's a nice year? You know what?
No.
They handled, all things considered, they did pretty well. That's not what we're talking about here.
No, but even you would say if we went 9-2, and it sounds weird to say 9-2 because really that could be 10-2 if you assume a win over Louisiana Monroe. It would be hard to say that when you lost one game to Alabama and your starting quarterback and won every other game but one, and the other loss was after a 3-week layoff due to a hurricane. True freshman quarterback, if you go 10-2 and win the Atlantic, you're going to be angry?
No, the problem is the quarterback wasn't the issue in the loss.
No,
That's the reason it's damning.
Well, believe me, I'm not excusing away the loss, but we're hypothetically in a scenario here in which, and I know that's not a word, I threw the hypothetically.
Oh, sorry. I heard Lee, so yeah.
No, but hypothetically, we're looking at a undefeated season the rest of the way. I don't think there'd be anybody too upset at that point. Yes, because especially you would say, well, that was after a 3-week layoff. You really would. Now, listen, it wouldn't mean that some of the complaints aren't valid in that game specifically. There's no way you're going to tell me they rattle off 9 straight wins and win the Atlantic Division and play for an ACC title with a true freshman quarterback. You're going to be pissed. There's just no way.
I still will be. I'll look back in September and go, what the hell, man?
I don't know. I don't know. It's, again,
short of NC State being a top 10 team. You know what I mean?
Well,
like if all of a sudden they don't lose another game this year, then maybe you can look back and say, well, we didn't know what we were dealing with at the time because of the South Carolina loss that obscured our vision. But NC State actually was the class of the Atlantic this year. Short of that.
If NC State goes on to finish in the top 20 with that front 7, and they didn't have to have any layoff whatsoever, they played every week, and that's the only other game we lose, I'm not going to be real angry. I'm not. I'm still going to want changes.
See, but I think you'll soften on that stance.
I won't soften on that stance unless they're
it's the same discussion.
No, unless they're just dominant, but they won't be. They won't be that way. I don't believe in Charles Kelly right now, so I don't know that we're going to get there.
But that would be the same discussion. You're coming from the same place. If you go 9-2, then I mean, with a freshman quarterback, you've handled everything. It looks like everything's been righted.
He won't make changes. I still want to. I still think we're not attacking enough defensively. Just philosophically, I think when you have these kinds of athletes, you need to be more of an attacking defense, and I don't see enough of it, so I doubt I'm going to see much to sway me there.
Is it fair to say coaching lost us last week's game?
Yes.
Okay. That happens way too often. It just does. With our expectations being what they are. 15 is a year that nobody will argue about. Last year it happened. Coaching cost us games. In 12, it happened. Coaches costing games.
And primarily defensively, and so that's why, again, I would like to see some changes on that side of the ball. Yeah. That's not going to change, I don't think. I mean, unless we just start rattling off shutouts, which I don't think we're going to do.
You can be pleased, and in this scenario, I'll be pleased that everything got righted, but I don't like the fact that coaching is going to cost us until the point that we have to right everything, and then Jimbo gets that look in his eye, and he's locked in. Where's the consistency?
And it's weird that I'm being devil's advocate on the other side of this, because usually I'm the guy that's pro making changes and doing all this other stuff. All I'll say is that Clemson team last year should have lost 4 games, and they were coached terribly through much of the year. Dabo had one of his worst years. He's been way better in years in which they didn't win the national championship. He had a bad year. They tried to lose the Auburn game with idiotic coaching. Go back and watch that. I don't mean this year. I mean last. And then, of course, they did lose at home to Pitt. They should have lost to NC State on a chip shot field goal at home. Kid just missed a 20-yard field goal. I mean, what the hell are you going to do? That's crazy. He misses they have, by rights, they should never have won that game. They did, they did lose to Pitt. They should have lost to us if not for a bad call. They had a lot of games should have lost.
But, I mean, take a look at us last year. All right, we should have lost the Ole Miss game, but we came back, and it was a blaze of glory for 30 minutes. I mean, come on. The way we were prepared out the gate for that game.
I thought defensively we were
joke.
Awful, but, what you do defensively in the second half and adjusting counts, too. So, Ole Miss wasn't a bastion of great coaching either. So I don't want to give them that.
Ill-prepared for the first game of the season. Ill-prepared for Louisville. They quit on you, North Carolina.
Louisville is a bastardization of what you should present as a program. I agree with you.
They quit on you for North Carolina.
They did.
Should have lost to North Carolina State.
I don't disagree that changes need to be made on the defensive side of the ball. I'm saying what I'll think about the year. And they're not going to do that, so it won't really matter. It's kind of a moot point. If they win out, they're going to play for the ACC title and have – they'll be a fringe playoff team if they win out. Nobody will be pissed if they're a fringe playoff team with a freshman quarterback.
It's about the process. I'll be pissed about the process.
It would be a Herculean accomplishment. You will have gone on the road and beaten Clemson with a true freshman quarterback in this scenario. That's crazy. I will be standing up and cheering on a daily basis. All armed with the knowledge that I still want to make changes on defense.
All armed with the knowledge that, again, you lost a game you had no business losing because of coaching.
I'm looking at it through the prism of we're going to go on and win the rest of these games, and if you do that, it will alter the way you look at that loss. You'll easily be able, because of the successes, you'll easily be able to chalk that up to the 3-week layoff. You'll just say, well, they just weren't prepared. It was a weird layoff. And
I'm here to tell you, and we can keep the tape. We'll keep it.
Let's keep it.
It's not going to obscure how I view this game because this happened.
What if they beat Miami 37-7 and Louisville 45-20, and then they beat Clemson on the road 24-21, and then they're dominant in all the other games, and they close it out against Florida? You're just not going to be that mad. You're not.
If they don't make the playoff and it's because of the NC State game, that NC State game is going to mean all the more in that scenario. Again, they could have beat Clemson last year and rattled off all those consecutive wins. I don't think that would have put them in the ACC championship game. No, it wouldn't have because we lost to North Carolina. What am I talking about?
Right.
It still wouldn't have changed the fact that those losses happened. And no matter what you do from here on out, they happen for a reason. That reason was coaching. Good Lord.
3 weeks, true freshman quarterback, crazy hurricane.
Who didn't play. He wasn't the reason you lost.
But it's a hell of an adjustment to have to make. It's a way you call the game.
True freshman quarterbacks impact receivers to not be lined up correctly?
No, I agree. There are problems. I'm not saying you won't have valid complaints. I'm telling you won't be mad. You won't be mad at the end of the year if they win out. They're not going to win out. This is a moot point. We should move on. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Private parties, message Fire Betties on Facebook.
No fans, ESPN Tallahassee's official home for FSU watch parties in 2017 is Miller's Ale House on Appalachian Parkway.
Francois to throw for the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. Seminoles are going for the win.
The ESPN Tallahassee team will be on hand for every Seminole away football game with giveaways, a chance to win some great prizes, and to have a good time.
To the pylon. He's into the end zone for an FSU touchdown.
So, when the Noles hit the road, join us at Miller's Ale House on the Parkway, the official FSU watch party headquarters of your home of the best in Seminole sports talk. 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Authority.
At Lowe's, we're building our team to help rebuild our neighborhoods devastated by Hurricane Irma. Because it's going to take a lot of time, and we're going to need a lot of help. So if you know anyone looking for work, have them join Lowe's. We're hiring neighbors for full and part-time positions with great benefits. Sound good? Then let's get to work. Apply today in-store or online at lowes.com/Irma. Select stores only. See store for details and restrictions.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Lacked the courage of my convictions last week, and it cost me dearly. Could have easily taken a big step forward early in the year regarding my head-to-head battle with my mom. Because I would throw around the idea that Buffalo would beat Denver, but didn't pick them. Throw around the idea that the Saints were going to beat a bad Carolina team. By the way, Tom, before we bring in Mom here for the segment, I got to say, Carolina's defense obviously is very good, but Cam is having he's terrible right now. This is going to be an interesting year. We get to 8 games in the season halfway through, and he looks like that, and more people are paying attention because people aren't really paying attention. He's been awful.
Well, the secret's becoming more open right now. I've seen a couple of people who are film heads, that are nationally known.
They're like, what's going on with Cam?
He's just got to be better, like comments like that, or you can't miss this throw. So the conversation is growing, the momentum is growing, but there are so many other things going on with the NFL off the field that Cam Newton has not been the forefront of the discussion the way he was a couple of years ago with the MVP race. And then he was for a couple of years when he wasn't performing, as a number one overall pick, and he was in bust territory.
Well, he'd have good, bad days. He was kind of a weird cat. He'd have a game where you'd go, oh, well, that's what they were looking for, and then you'd have a game where he was terrible, and then obviously he had the MVP season, and then last year was not good, and he's been terrible so far this year. The weirdest thing about what's going on this year is the fact that when you watch the games closely, and you're right, I don't think enough people have really watched Carolina. They've had a weird schedule, too, like who wanted to watch Carolina and New Orleans? Who really wanted to watch at the beginning of the year when Carolina went out on the road, and that game that I saw
San Francisco,
where he's just missing guys left and right, but nobody was tuning in to Carolina, San Francisco. But I watched that closely, and the weirdest part is his inconsistencies in the past before the big MVP season had to do with running too often, missing guys, missing opportunity, and then pouting and getting frustrated and arguing with teammates and so forth. But he wasn't missing receivers by 20 yards. He's missing guys sometimes on throws right now the way that a third-string guy trying to make the team in preseason misses guys.
But the thing that's annoying, and you know how it goes in the NFL, is they're still 2-1.
Well, they play good defense, and they've had a weak schedule.
Right, exactly. Now they play the Patriots, obviously, this weekend. Right. But, however you get your wins, it doesn't matter.
No, you just got to get them.
People don't tend to look for problems on teams with winning records. But if all of a sudden they're 2-4 or 3-5, then the talking points will grow.
All right, let's cue it up and bring in Mama. We had all the same games last week, so she's still one up from the previous week.
And now for another edition of the Family Pick. Nick.
Go to your room!
Ma, the meatloaf! Take it away, Jeffrey.
Mom, I'm going to assume, as any rational human being would, that you had Green Bay at home last night against the Bears.
I did. Okay. I absolutely did. And anyway, they didn't disappoint me. It's very, very rare that I would pick against Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron doesn't have a lot of help, though, is the problem.
No, he doesn't. But I'll tell you what, and I cracked up when he threw that pass to Jordy Nelson. And I thought he was going to score, and then he just couldn't make it in there. I was cracking up. But anyway, I really like Green Bay. So, yeah, I was happy that they won. I'll tell you who looks terrible is Glennon. For God's sake, that poor soul. Yeah. I don't know. I think I almost could get in there and throw the balls that he throws. Now I know he didn't have a lot of time to throw, but when he did, he still looked terrible.
Yeah, he's not very good, and that team's terrible. They don't have receivers, so he's not good to begin with. He's an average. He's a good backup. That's what he is. He's a real good backup. So he's thrusted in the role of starter, and they don't have weapons. Their weapons are in the backfield, and if you team up to stop the run against them, they're screwed. That's all they got. They're going to have a hard time. All right, here we go. New Orleans is at Miami.
I know it. I'm picking New Orleans.
I am too. That game is actually in London, by the way. So
another one in London? Good Lord.
I know.
I didn't know that.
I'm taking New Orleans as well. Excuse me. Buffalo is at Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm taking Atlanta.
Me too. Cincinnati's at Cleveland. This is kind of a hard game.
It is kind of a hard game, and it's kind of a yucky game. I took Cincinnati.
It's not kind of a yucky game. It's a yucky game. It's a yucky game. I too am taking Cincinnati. I just can't trust Cleveland's quarterback.
I know.
Fun game. Rams, Cowboys.
I know. I'm taking the Cowboys.
I would really like to take the Rams, but I can't do it. Detroit's at Minnesota.
Yeah, now this game is an intriguing game. I actually think Detroit might be pretty good. I know Minnesota definitely beat us soundly, but I took Detroit.
I'm taking Minnesota. I got Minnesota at home. I like the Vikings defense, and they do enough offensively, so I'll take Minnesota. Carolina is at New England. We're both taking New England.
Yes, we are.
Now, here's a game that's, well, this is something. Jacksonville's at the Jets.
I know. I never thought that I would say this, but I actually am picking Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm taking Jacksonville, too, and the Jets fresh off a win in which they humiliated the Dolphins. Pittsburgh's at Baltimore.
Yeah, that's kind of a crazy game, too. I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Me, too. Tennessee's at Houston.
Tennessee.
I'm going to take Houston here. Give me Houston.
Okay.
We got a second game different here. Give me Houston. San Francisco's at Arizona.
Arizona.
Philadelphia is at the Los Angeles Chargers.
I know it. I'm taking Philadelphia.
I'm going to take the Chargers. Give me the Los Angeles
thought you might.
Here we go.
Oh, boy, we got three different.
Yeah. Now, here's where it gets tough because the Bucs are so banged up, but the Giants are at Tampa Bay. I feel like it's an important game. You're going to take the Bucs.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, me too.
They've got to get their stuff together here after last week, and I know they're still banged up and everything, but I'm gonna hang in there with them for another couple of weeks at least.
Well, they got to win this game, and it could be ugly, and I don't care how it gets done, and it might end up being a score fest with these two. But you got to win this game to go 2-1 because you're probably not going to beat New England in your next game.
Oh no, probably not. Although,
yeah, I know.
will say New England's a little suspect. I mean, I know that we're probably not going to beat them, but I think New England's not as good as they have been.
Well, certainly defensively, they don't look very good. Oakland's at Denver.
Yeah, I took Oakland.
Taking Denver. We've got a fourth.
I know it's hard to pick against Denver at home.
Yep, taking Denver here. Wow, this could be a crazy turnaround.
Oh, my God, this could be.
This is the way it should be. We go from 0 games different before to 4 now. Indianapolis.
Oh, my goodness.
This is a snooze fest. Indianapolis at Seattle, 8:30 on NBC for the nation to be pissed about.
Oh, Lordy, I'm taking Seattle.
I guess, me too.
I know.
Wouldn't be shocked if they don't win.
I know.
And finally, Monday Night Football sees Washington at Kansas City.
I'm taking Kansas City.
It's hard not to these days.
Yeah,
all right, so
Kansas City. I'm sure Tom is happy. Isn't he a big fan?
Well, he's a huge Bucs fan first and foremost. He's a Buccaneers fan. But he does like, I think, as his second team, kind of equivalent now also to Minnesota, whom he likes because of his girlfriend. But he does like Kansas City, yes.
Yeah,
you do, right, Tom? You are a Kansas City guy.
Man, I've always appreciated Kansas City's uniforms. You know, if you play the uniform game, I think they're top-notch. They're elite. But then, you know,
there you go.
My man Alex Smith doesn't get enough credit, so he's finally getting some credit.
I'm an Alex Smith fan, too.
You guys love average-ass quarterbacks.
He looks like Aaron Rodgers, so I can understand.
I don't know if he looks like Aaron, but...
She's like, come on now. He doesn't look like Aaron. Nobody looks quite like Aaron. Go ahead and say it, Mom.
I know. I'm telling you. But anyway, but I do like Kansas City, and I always go back to him. I didn't think he got treated fairly in San Francisco. Ever since then, I've been a fan of his.
Oh, good Lord.
I know. You know me. I'm always looking out for these
Smith support team around here. All right. Love you, Mom. I'll talk to you next week.
I love you, too. Now, you guys got to win this week,
You
too.
don't even need to bring it up, obviously.
Oh, my goodness. I'm worried.
Well, you think? Yeah.
I know. Bless that kid's heart that's playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
He didn't play poorly.
No, he didn't.
Defense
but around him, he has had some issues, I'm telling you. Well, hopefully they're... Now, who are they playing this week?
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest. Well, Wake's pretty good this year, aren't they?
4-0.
Oh, there you go. Oh, Lordy. What time is that game?
That game is at 3:30.
Okay. Now, are you home or away?
Away.
Okay. Oh, all right. Very good. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. You think that'll be on TV?
Yes, it's on TV.
Oh, all right. Well, then I'll be watching.
All right. We got the full rundown there.
Yeah. Now, what four have we got different now? Let me make sure I got them here.
Vikes, Detroit, Houston, Tennessee. You've got Philadelphia. I got Angry Phillip Rivers, and then Denver and Oakland.
Okay. Very good. All right, sweetie.
Bye,
well,
Mom.
you guys have a good weekend.
You too.
All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Like it's a casual conversation. Like I was just driving down the road on Bluetooth talking to my mom.
Will you be having the chicken or the seafood option?
Yeah, is there anything else? You guys going to switch things up with the uniforms? Going to do anything a little bit different this weekend? We should.
Wear the practice uniforms.
Well, that I agree with. I'd like us to go white on white.
Last time we did that, we played USF, and that was kind of a death knell game.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and the program was in a different place. Some would say, no, it looks very similar. No, I disagree. Let's go white on white. And I love the white on white when we went to Notre Dame and beat that ass. One of Chris Rick's shining moments.
Mm-hmm.
That place was shocked. Imagine you're sitting there as a Notre Dame fan watching 37-0.
Now, you're not a fan of the white on the garnet pants, right? Is that correct?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I don't hate it. I like
they were red pants once upon a time, but
right. No,
it looks like we got the pants color right.
I think we got the pants color right. No, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I like. I'm not a fan of garnet on garnet. When we did that for a while, I didn't like that.
I thought it looked good though with the current uniform.
With the current uniform, it's okay.
Because of the sleeves, and then that actually makes a little bit of sense because it's not just, it doesn't look like a tracksuit.
No, I like, if you do white on white, I like that. I can go with garnet pants, white tops. I can do that okay. I'm not in love with it, but I don't hate it.
Buddy, how about the Iowa State uniforms last night?
What the hell are we doing?
What was that?
Well, and the helmet is that's a child's helmet, man.
So their pep band's got T-shirts,
right?
You know,
yeah, no, it looks like that is second fiddle stuff right there. I mean, like you don't need to be in a Power 5 conference looking like that.
They are getting an equal share of the Big 12 distribution, are they not?
Yeah. You know, it's funny you bring that up. I did look at that. I said that's some stuff that I wore in the Little League days, like the things we wore. I played in a league. Wasn't flush with money, Tom, and the uniforms we wore had been worn like by the previous year's team and the previous year's team and so like the first day I got my helmet. Lakewood Junior Midgets, if people are wondering. First day I got my helmet, it's black, but it's got all these nicks and like paint and everything that from some other kid.
Right.
This is the way it was.
Looks like an alley bowling ball.
Oh, exactly. That's a perfect analogy, and it's exactly what we looked like. And I look back at those pictures, I'm like, good God. I mean, there's a hole in your pants. You can see the pad in your thigh pad. It's just, but you wore them with pride. That was Iowa State last night. I went, what? Did you paint that yourself on the side of the helmet?
Well,
what's going on with this stupid cyclone thing?
The ridiculous thing, is they introduced that new helmet.
It's awful. It's an awful helmet.
If you're going to introduce a new helmet, then you might as well have a uniform to go with it.
Nothing about what was being worn last night would cause your chest to swell with pride as an Iowa State Cyclone. That was like, look at our sorry ass out here trying, because Texas looks classy when they wear the white on white. The only problem I have with the white on white, and I like that uniform, is it just me, or and I'm serious about this now, is Texas pants, are their pants tighter than everybody else's pants in football? What's going on in Texas?
I can happily say I did not notice.
Well, I'm telling you, you can't help but notice when you watch Texas. You're like, this is uncomfortable. I mean, I know what religion that guy is now. We don't need to do that at Texas. It's going on all the time. And it's Texas mainly. I bet Jimmy loves the Texas uniform. I'm telling you now, when you watch the Texas team take, I'm like, that's a bit much. I like the white on white. Do the pants have to be so transparent and tight? It's an awful lot going on there.
Yeah.
It's a little uncomfortable. Watch when Texas goes white on white again next time.
It's my old friend Patrick's combine story.
Where everybody in the room is kind of like, you're just afraid to say anything. Well, the combine, when they give you the straight-on shot when the guy's running the 40, you're like, what are we doing here? Come on, guys.
For those that haven't seen it yet, now you won't be able to unsee it's really unnecessary. Put them in football pads and have them run for
because
crying
it's
out loud.
actually, yes, I agree.
Also, I think, bottom line, Iowa State's uniform choice cost them the game. Cost them the game.
Well, if they could have got the ball back, I was hoping for a backdoor cover. I was like, man, I'm going to get me a backdoor cover.
Okay. We saw this. If it wasn't last year, it was the year prior. Remember the first game of the season? I guess it was a couple of years ago now. It was Pittsburgh, New England, and it was in New England. Week 1 in the NFL, Thursday night NBC. Pittsburgh is going down the field on its first drive with little resistance. On the ground, quick throws. Then they call an asinine reverse pass with Antonio Brown.
And we go, what?
And that's the end of the night. It's kind of like when Louisville started against Auburn. It's, why would you
run
ever
a crazy
do this?
Trick play, throw it up, picked off.
As it played out, Louisville and Auburn went toe-to-toe the entire day, and that plays the difference. What the bleep is Herman doing on drive number 2 when they're running up the middle of the field at 5 and 6 yards a clip? They've got a nice rhythm, and then you call this asinine reverse pass or
Coaches,
whatever the hell that was?
For years have been they get too cute.
Texas is going up 14-0, and God knows what the score is going to be at that point.
The weirdest thing about last night's game, when you watch that game play out, The final score should have been 56-7. But right now, Tom Herman's not doing a very good job.
Correct.
And when you watch it, at one point it's 17-7 and Iowa's driving. And I'm sitting there thinking, they're going to make this 17-14, and then there's real game pressure on Texas now because you can't lose this game. And in my head, I'm going, cool, I'll take a cover any way I can get it. I invoked the Thursday night football gods, not thinking Iowa State was the better team, just thinking Thursday night's weird. But in my head, I was thinking, how? How is this about to be a 3-point game? If Iowa State had any semblance of a decent quarterback, that could have been an interesting game. That kid's terrible, by the way. Whoever that kid is, he's awful. Fitzgerald or whatever his name, he can't play.
Tells you a little something about Iowa, too. You know, that game. I don't care. It's a rivalry game, but what did Iowa State put up? 28, 30 points? But
Iowa never moves. This is the weirdest thing about Iowa, is that every week and unfortunately I watch too much Iowa football because of my buddy. Iowa's in every game. And that includes games against teams that they have no business being. That's what I mean. That's how that works. Like, you're not blowing Iowa out if you're Ohio State. But Iowa's not blowing North Texas out either. I mean, that's just what you have there. So it's weird. But I'm a little uneasy with it's year one at Texas. Their offensive line. Shane had more time to throw than any quarterback has a right to have to throw. Like, it's offensive how much time he had to throw. Literally, there were times that there were 8 to 9 seconds to throw the football, and it's not a blowout. It's not. It's right there for the taking if Iowa State's got a quarterback.
Right.
It's bizarre.
Well, yes, and again, you're running right at him in the flow of a game. We're going to go up 14-0, get a stop, score. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and
I completely agree.
It's going to lose control. So he calls that dumbass play, and it's a nice play by the defensive lineman to blow it up. But again, there's no need for that.
On the fumble,
stupid,
you're talking about the fumble, the little flippity-doo thing?
I mean, it's actually going to work, but it's just such a stupid call. It's risk for no reason.
Well, once it gets blown up, the kid's got to think, I can't toss this.
Right, exactly. I can hit and kind of
like
gyrate.
It's a grenade.
But you're putting it in the hands of a college kid in that moment.
Right.
And the other thing is he needs to play Ehlinger. Ehlinger runs his offense, not Buechele. It's a square peg in a round hole. The locker room dynamics have to be such that they believe in the Buechele kid, and that's why they keep him. He's a nice player.
On a different team.
Not for that
he
offense.
He should transfer here.
I don't disagree.
He can sit in the pocket and sling it. And he also had all day to do so. I mean, that's just that game right there really was putrid. Oh,
the slate last night.
It angered me. I'm watching that game like both you teams. You don't deserve my viewership.
I quit by 10:30.
Well, you were smart. Yeah. You don't deserve my viewership. My son comes in to watch the game. Dad, I want to watch the game with you. Perfect, because they were out. They don't have school today. There's a teacher planning day, so they're home.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Can we have a radio planning day?
I wish we had a radio planning day too, but we're about to be off. So here's what I'll tell you. So he comes in, and it was the cutest thing. It's my youngest son. And he comes in and he goes, hey, Dad, what are you watching? I said, Texas and Iowa State. And he goes, can I watch it with you? I said, of course. So he climbs up on the bed, and he nestles up against my shoulder. That kid was asleep in 30 seconds. That game sucked so bad. He was just out cold. I'm like, all right, buddy, I get it. I wanted to be like, can you go get Dad a beer? I'm sitting here watching this awful game.
Dad, can we watch the MLS, please?
Come back, wrap it up momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Line at proofbrewingco.com for more info. Proof Brewing Company reminds you to please drink responsibly.
The Knolls are heating up, and so are the Makita deals at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, your Big Bend Makita Pro Center. The Build Your Own Kit promo is here with many options to choose from. Buy a Makita Dual Base Starter Kit with bag, 2 5-amp-hour batteries, and pick your 2 bare tools. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, your professional and serious do-it-yourself shop. 1110 Stuckey Ave, Tallahassee, or 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Call them at 580-1200 in Tallahassee or 926-1144 in Crawfordville. Online at CTF.NU.
Do you want the cleanest used car, truck, or SUV at the lowest price? FranksAutoWorld.com. How has Frank's Auto World become Tallahassee's fastest growing used car dealer? Simple. Frank carries up to 70 of the cleanest used cars, trucks, and SUVs, then prices them on the internet lower than the competition. Think I'm kidding? Type in FranksAutoWorld.com on your smartphone, iPad, or desktop. Get multiple pictures and even a free Carfax of each vehicle and a rating by Car Gurus showing you the price is a good deal. FranksAutoWorld.com.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 850-702-0894. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 850-702-0894.
O'Reilly. Need auto parts? Get them with a click at the new O'ReillyAuto.com. Shop online and we'll ship the order to your home, or you can pick it up for free at the O'Reilly Auto Parts store nearest you. The choice is yours. Shop the way that's convenient for you and get the exact parts you need to get the job done right. O'ReillyAuto.com. Parts for your car wherever you are.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. It's game day eve for the Garnet and Gold as Florida State packs the bags and heads on the plane up to Wake Forest with visions of Dalvin Cook in the past dancing in their head. Florida State looking for that elusive first win of the season. They'll try to do it tomorrow afternoon at Wake Forest. What is the next shoe to drop in the NCAA recruiting violation scandal? Rick Pitino is already gone. Which coach could be next? Urban Meyer saying on a Columbus radio station on Thursday that if he finds that any of his coaches had lied about violations or recruiting, he'd fire them immediately. Thursday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers throws for 4 touchdowns in a big win over the Chicago Bears. They may have lost Devontae Adams for some time. The Bears may be going to former Carolina quarterback Mitchell Trubisky next weekend. And some Friday Night Football in the ACC, one that many Seminole fans will be watching closely as the Miami Hurricanes take on Duke.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Wrapping it up on this Libations Friday, and I'm ready for a tall, cold one. Tall, cold one. Maybe more than one.
Skyscraper tall.
crazy big. That's a ridiculously tall beer.
You ever
I'm
get
gonna drink it.
Yardsticks when you're on vacation or anything like that?
You and me and Alicia, I think, had.
We did.
We did in Boston.
What the hell am I talking
Yeah,
about?
we
did
drank
together.
those yardsticks in Boston at an outdoor bar. It was beautiful.
Yes.
It was perfect. Where were we?
Uh,
I don't know. We were just wandering. It wasn't one of the main ones we were at. It
No,
was just
we were in the North End, I think.
We've been known to wander into bars, just kind of walking.
It was either North End. No, it was outside of Fenway, I think.
One of the many.
Yeah. Well, we
Was
ended up going to the Remy's.
Yeah, that was great.
But then,
which is now closed.
Oh, is
no,
it?
It's open. It's just not Remy's anymore. He sold
Because
he sold,
I know. That's sad, man.
Yeah, that situation's a little dicey.
Well, with his kid, yeah.
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, him with his cancer. And
No, the whole thing. It's a tough go.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let me get out of that. One
Hey,
of you got
everybody.
I think she got the Brooklyn Brown because I wanted something else, but then I got to sip on basically half of the yardstick of the Brooklyn Brown, which is just delicious.
It was a good time. Great pictures, fun weekend. Everything about that was a good time.
Yeah, that was
good. Other than me having to pee in a way that was the most uncomfortable I've ever been through.
Was it just that? I thought you had stomach issues.
No. I didn't have any stomach issues. It was the
But
pee.
you went to the pharmacy. Remember when you went to the
Oh,
pharmacy?
but that wasn't the night of the game. That wasn't Florida State BC.
Oh. But that was that same weekend, though.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was stomach
You look
issues.
white as a ghost.
We've had some issues on the road in Boston.
Well,
by we, I mean
you.
me, numerous times.
And then I had issues in the road at Bessemer, and
Yeah, but you could,
oh my God,
yeah, I thought you were gonna die.
So
it was
did I.
crazy. Your face was like on fire, and the pressure was so bad. You like, oh, what's that stuff you use? I go, well, I only use it in a desperate situation. It's called Afrin. You can spray it into your nose. You're like, well, stop and give me some. I was like, oh my God. So for Tom to do that,
Yeah.
I knew it had to be bad.
that was at this CVS right outside Judge Hobdy's home.
Well, Judge was great.
But I had a combination of some sort of sinus headache pain and a stomach virus at the same time.
You were a freaking mess.
But I manned up and we
Well,
went
that's
and watched Game 7 like a hockey fan should.
And we had no business winning. We lost that game.
No, we won.
We won
2-0.
2-0, but we didn't
Empty
really
netter was the
deserve.
two.
Yeah, we didn't deserve it. It was 1-0 the whole game.
Yeah, it was 1-0. We were holding on for dear life.
That bar in Birmingham was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
You couldn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was
I had
a good
like
bar.
half of my pints of beer.
I was devastated. I knew you were sick, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, I feel fine. Give me another one, sir. And yeah, it was beautiful.
Strawman actually scored, I believe, the winning goal, but it was like an air hockey goal. He said just sent it down the ice. He banked it off the boards, and it went in.
This depresses me. We're about to do probables, and the thing is, it's the last of the probables for the. Well, I guess we might be able to work in a probables next week when you get into the playoffs and you have the 4 games, whatever. But yeah, right now this is the last of the probables for the regular season, folks. So another season has passed. Dark times. I will do my best. Before you cue it, let me just remind everybody of where we're at. By the way, did you know that Miami is going to finish second in the East? Were you aware of that?
I didn't know. It wasn't going to be us.
No, you're barely ahead of the Phillies.
No, we're going to give up 850 runs this year, sir.
Yeah, you're 69-90.
Nice.
And that's on a 3-game win streak. And I caught the nice. Unfortunately, the Cubs, for as bad as they played for much of the year, have already won 90 games.
There's my World Series pick.
Oh, the Mets?
Yeah. Once upon a time, that wasn't crazy. Think about that. Baseball is cruel, sir.
Yeah, it is. Dodgers have won 102 games. This despite the fact they went through an 11-game losing streak. Just a baseball, man. Weird. In the American League, Boston is basically clinched at 92-67. And the Yankees and the Twins are going to end up playing in that wild card, and we're going to root for the Twins like we've been lifelong Twins fans, like they're good. When I watch the Twins, what's crazy, they're 83-76. You watch the Twins, and I've been wondering, are they going to get in? And so I've been watching. I don't know how they win. They're terrible. They're not any good. How do they win games?
Because Gold Glove defense up the middle, sir, translates to everything.
I guess. I mean, they're awful. All they do, they hit home runs, but that's about it.
Well, they're playing in Yankee Stadium. Uh-oh. Irvin Santana shutting it down.
Well, they hit 1 million home runs anywhere. They hit home runs. That's what they do. But they're not good at a damn thing else. I watched them. I'm like,
But
this team clearly lost 103 games last year.
They'll hit 2 home runs and then they'll hit 2 fly balls that just happen to leave Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's get to it. Let's do it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Oh, that's good. That's well done. Well played, sir. I don't know how to read probables over Imagine, which really is a timely song constantly, but especially currently. Here you go. Mets, Phillies. I hate having to say this guy's name while this song is playing. Matt Harvey will go for the Mets.
Imagine there's no mirrors.
1-3 with an 11-7-8.
How would you stare into your own eyes?
In his last 5 startings, his last 5 starts, my man is 1-3 with an 11-7-8. 11-7-8. You're rolling Matt Harvey out there with an 11-7.
This is on loop when he's driving in New York, when he's walking in New York.
This is him,
when he's getting treatment in the clubhouse.
It's Ben Affleck, just staring off into the distance.
He's going to have a
Superman
long beard for spring training next year, and he's going to be 120 pounds.
Ben Lively's pitching for the Phillies. The Pirates will throw Garrett Cole. Whatever, Garrett. Nats will throw Steven Strasburg. That's a mismatch. Pick the Nats. Braves, Marlins, Luis Gohara, Dan Straley. Wade Miley will pitch for the Orioles. Jake Odorizzi will pitch for the Rays. We've got the White Sox and the Indians, Mike Pelfrey, Trevor Bauer. Astros, Red Sox, Charlie Morton, Doug Fister. Hey, now. A's, Rangers. It's the last time I get to do that all year. Raul Alcantara.
Imagine no Doug Fister.
Hey, now. Martin Perez goes for the Rangers. Tigers, Twins, Matthew Boyd, Kyle Gibson. Dodgers, Rockies. Ryu goes for the Dodgers. Chad Bettis. Nice to meet you. D-backs, Royals, Zach Greinke, Ian Kennedy.
That's not Chad Bettis. That's Tiger Woods in disguise.
Yeah. Did you see the disgust on Tiger Woods' face yesterday when Phil Mickelson missed that putt for
No.
It's awesome. I'm going to show you the clip.
Typical.
You have got to see the clip. Like, I think he's feigning he's upset for the team, but it is direct disappointment in Phil Mickelson. Like, Phil misses that putt, and you see Tiger just...
Can't blame Bones anymore, Phil.
Brewers, Cards, Chad Anderson, John Grant. I really want you to see that clip now. Marco Gonzalez goes, I laughed for like 10 minutes. Nobody else knew what I was laughing about. I was like, yes, he still hates his ass. Tyler Skaggs goes for the Angels. Padres, it's a look at disdain. Padres, Giants, Jordan Lyles, and Chris Stratton. He stopped short of going, of course he missed it.
Well, okay. Is this what we're reduced to, though? You know, that in about 10, 15 years' time, that's probably too soon. 20 years' time.
Right.
At Augusta, it's going to be the two of them doing the ceremonial first tee shot.
And he's going to be pissed at his...
And Tiger's going to stripe it, and he's going to stare at Phil.
Still better.
Always was. I mean, wrong era, Phil. Should have played with Faldo.
This is fantastic. I'm glad you remembered that we got to go out on a high. You can't go out on Imagine on a Friday. It was perfect for the read, but this is the last you can play September as well. I hope October brings joy because, damn it, man, it didn't bring a win for Florida State football.
The last 2 Septembers have been ass sorry for Florida State.
Just torch September eternally, other than we get to play this song. Screw you, September. Or I used to celebrate Septembers. Got to start celebrating Octobers, which, you know, baseball playoffs.
Hey, man, it's a great month. Best month in the year.
I know why you said that, but I disagree. We all know June is vastly superior.
Oh, yes. I don't even want to give him the free mention, but you know what I would have said from Ashley Schaefer.
Oh, we need more Ashley Schaefer in our life. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. To those that called in or listened, surely do appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Try to be nice to one another. Try not to get so caught up in stupid stuff. So many angry folks. All right, I apologize. I'm getting preachy. Go have a foot-long beer. I'll talk to you on Monday.